Welcome everyone in the chat. We have Curtis Dart, who also has Drone Owners Network Live, and he also has Curtis Dart. He has 2 channels, and so we're going to dive in a little bit into both of them. I'm hoping to talk about his tribe, about what he finds important in his life, and what he's going to do next. Hi, Emma Hilton.
My tribe. I like that.
Yeah, I'm always going to bring that up. You know this. You know this.
Hi, Drone Effects with Claude. How you guys doing? Asgard Studios. What's up, guys?
Miss Ride or Die. Hey, how you doing? Jay Santiago. Welcome, welcome. Claude is in the house. Asgard Studio, Mr. Doughboy. Hi, did you get that drone in the air now? Let's see. Geeksylvania, Emma Hilton. Guys, I'm so happy to see you. So what I'll probably do is just start really quickly because there's a lot of information. Because I went on to the his drone channel, one of them, and he has 8 years. That's a lot to cover. Hey, Robert Stanton.
Do you want to knock the tribe thing out first so people kind of get a reference for all this?
Oh, no.
No? Okay.
Oh, no. I want them to think about it because it makes sense. If you've seen Curtis, he came on to, wasn't it the Drone Hub? And we kind of mentioned the tribe because I was surprised. Because the only people, well, I'll kind of knock a little bit. The only people I know that have had tribes is like Casey Neistat, the really big YouTubers. You know, they got their people, all their people. But so does Curtis. I want to talk to him about how that's helped him, has it hindered him, and what he's going to do next. So here is Curtis Dart.
Evening, everybody. How you guys doing out there?
So Curtis, you have a couple different things going on YouTube.
Yeah, I've got 2 channels. I have my personal channel that I've had for probably the inception of YouTube, way back in the day before Google even had it, and I've just used it as a repository or a library of stuff that I create something and I just kind of put it up there. It's not something I'm religious about. Just right. Whenever I've made, in fact, the last post I made on there, I just checked earlier today, was a year ago. So I'm not actively trying to push that channel or anything. It's like I said, I'm amazed that there are people there. But yeah, just the motion graphics I do and the videos I make and the aerial stuff that I do, I just put it there. I didn't expect anything to come out of it. I'm capable of monetizing it, but I don't want to do that. I'm just not interested in that.
Right. We have a couple things going on in the chat. First of all, Novice Quad did dance for us tonight. So thank you for that, Novice. He has the moves. We're going to do a dance off between him and Roger. And Furball, so nice to see you in here. And yeah, we just kind of flew in. And thank you, Novice Quad, for inviting me on your show again. Miss Ride or Die. We have Emma Hilton in the house.
Let's see. Geeksylvania, yeah, not a problem, man. I saw your show and I thought, oh man, you're missing the actual interview, which is kind of a reference for the whole thing of a frame of mind, if you will. So it's kind of helps to have that video in there when you're talking about it.
Yeah.
Furball Kim, what's up? Emma Hilton, how you doing?
Yeah. So this channel that you have over 1,000 subscribers.
Yeah, and I forget what the actual watch hours is, but it's over what it's supposed to be. And
right. So what made you decide, just a quick question, what made you decide to start a new channel when you had a channel that could be monetized, that could start just off the floor running with this new live stream?
Well, I like a challenge.
Yeah.
And I wanted to, there's a couple things behind it. One, I wanted to keep my channel just for me. And the Drone Owners Network Live, the show that we're doing now, is not just me. I tend to be the face of it, but there's more people involved in it than just me. So the first thing I brought up to everybody was, hey, let's make this a unique channel. I mean, it's still my channel. It's from my emails and all that. It's just an extension of mine, but it's unique in its own space. So yeah, we didn't want to, I did not want to utilize my channel for that. I just wanted us to start from scratch and do it right and focus on it. And I didn't want to upload, one of my videos where I'm doing motion graphics and people go, well, what does this have to do with, whatever? Because I do stuff that's not in the drone world as well. So,
Right.
I wanted this particular channel, the Drone Owners Network Live, I wanted it to be drone centric.
So what are some of the channels you watch?
So normally I've got a big background in Adobe and 3D effects and stuff like that. So what I used to watch and what I'm watching now is kind of a little bit different. I'm starting to watch a lot of live shows right now and kind of getting a feel for what everybody's doing. Bill the Drone Reviewer is one that I've been watching. Coast to Coast Drones was one I was watching. The Canadian Drone Hub, love those guys and gal. Your show, started watching your show the other day. In fact, hold on one second. I have to share with you something that's very, very important. But I got to find it here for just a second. So okay. Give me just a second to do this. Where did I put it? Where did I put it? It's right here. And I will I don't know if you're going to be able to hear this. Okay, so what you're going to want to do, I'm going to turn up these speakers. I don't know if it's going to be loud or not. So everybody stand by with your, let me turn that down. Hang on, because I got two computers running. I don't know if this is going to be loud or not. So how do I share? It's over here.
So what you're going to do is you're going to go up on the left-hand side of your screen.
Right.
And put the mouse over on the very upper left hand, and it's going to show you a chat. Go down and say share screen. You're going to tap on that.
Okay.
But know that I have your screen presented also.
Okay.
So we're ready to go. Did you find it?
I think I did.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me go grab this. I just want you to know that I go out of my way to support everybody. This was last week. I did not know what to do. Go to Pusa Studios or go and listen to the interview with Val, with my buddy Bill the Drone Reviewer. So I set up both my computers. I turned the speakers up on both of them. I commented on both of them. I liked, I shared, I did the whole thing. So I just want you to know, representing in the house, supporting my favorite channels.
And Bill is a fun guy.
Yeah.
I had so much fun with him. I enjoyed that interview immensely. He was a great guy.
Bill's a hoot and a holler. I support him.
Yeah. So
I don't know if he wants to be described as a hoot and a holler, but
he is. He's just great. He's just great. So I enjoyed it. So let's see. A new prop nuts. I dance with a tutu. Oh yeah, Kim did. So I watched your part of your interview with Bill. I watched the first just the very beginning, because I didn't want to get influenced too much on what I was going to talk to Bill about.
Right.
So but I noticed that your intro is pretty darn fantastic.
Oh, the intro to the show?
Oh yeah, it was like, oh boy, Elvis is coming out. I mean, it was things going round, and it was this gal talking, and just really kind of amping up the excitement for what was going to happen. I thought it was wonderful.
You need to go back and watch the very first episode if you're into motion graphics. And the very first episode, I made a 3 minute and 30-second intro plus that intro. It was a countdown to, and people ask us about this too. Why don't you put that in there? We wanted a countdown for the very first show. So I made this huge long intro thing, and we put that on. So if anybody's interested in motion graphics and some fun stuff that is really along the lines of what you're seeing in the intro of the show, just imagine that extended out for 3.5 minutes with this countdown timer going on. My guys are like, how did you come up with all this? And I go, man, it's just busting at the seams. I don't get a chance to make all this stuff. And so as a backup thing, not to, and I don't know if you're going in this direction or not, but I make a lot of YouTube intros for guys. And when I'm making stuff, they call me and say, hey, I want you to make me an intro for my YouTube channel. Well, I'm making what they want, which is not necessarily what I want. So,
Right.
so this was an opportunity for me to just make the stuff that I want to make. So
Well,
yeah, no, thank you for the compliment. I definitely appreciate it. And so does the rest
really,
of my
I was
team.
amazed. I was amazed. I thought, holy hell, this is, I mean, this is really good. It's just, it's beyond anything that I see in the beginning of these. So it's really pretty fantastic. Then you had a guy come on and he read the news.
Yep, Tommy Polo.
Okay. And then you talked for a few minutes and introduced Phil, and you guys went right into the interview.
Mm-hmm.
So is that kind of your layout of how you like to do it?
You want to know the secret sauce? I see. Yeah. No, we definitely sat down with a formula that we had in our head before we went live the very first time. We tried it a couple times, and that's kind of what we hit upon. And in fact, we did not do a show this week. One of the reasons was because we wanted to back up, take a look at what we'd done, and kind of review and see if we're hitting the marks the way we want to do it. We're our own worst critics.
Of course.
When you're talking to the guys in the group and you see who these guys are that are on the staff and stuff, we're pretty harsh on ourselves. So yeah, we wanted to make sure that we were putting out exactly what we wanted and really fine tune this thing. We went through and looked at analytics, where we're losing people, where we're gaining people. And I'm happy to say that we're doing really, really well. As far as analytics and watch time and all that stuff, we're not really losing anybody. We really don't have a weak spot, other than the length of the show is the thing I think that hurts us the most. Some of our questions tend to get,
right?
Well, we were shooting. So it depends on who you ask. If you talk to the producer of the show, James Jackson, which you have not met, he's off screen. He initially wanted to do a 15-minute show. And I thought, I don't even want to fire my computer up for 15 minutes. What are you talking about? But he does production like this. He does directing and that's what he does. So he's like, I can cut this down to 15 minutes. And we're like, no, let's give it a little bit more than that. So we were shooting for 30 minutes with a hard stop at 45. But then the very first show we did with Jeff Overall, the content that we were getting from Jeff was like, oh, we need to keep talking. And then the next one with Romeo Dersher, there was so much stuff that Romeo Dersher was sharing with us. We decided, okay, well, let's stop in an hour, take a 15-minute break, come back at 4:00 and do a secondary show and just kind of pick up where we left off. So yeah, that's kind of our format. We kind of come on, we do a little thing, what I call show notes, which is information about upcoming stuff or any things we needed to correct about previous shows or anything like that. Any special promotions or things that we're going to be doing, which we're going to be doing a lot of that. All that is done during the show notes, which is about a 5-minute segment. The news comes on 3 or 4 stories is what we're trying to get out of Tommy. A little bit of editorial, opinionated stuff, so that it's not just a straight read. He puts his little spin on stuff, and then a quick little motion graphic break, and then we're right into the guest of the week. So that's our format. Now everybody's going to copy it. No.
Yes, we are. I'm writing down. So, okay. So my thought behind what I do is that I like going directly into the interview and just getting to what the show is. But your show isn't just about the interview. So yours makes sense not to just dive straight into that, correct?
For what we're trying to accomplish, yes. And there's an end goal, and we're working towards it. We have not revealed. There are some other aspects of the show that are coming that we have not matured yet enough to be put onto the show. So we have a female that has made 1 or 2 appearances, Abby Lyle. She's got some things going on in her life right now, but we have some other stuff that we're going to be putting into the show that's going to ramp up somewhat of the pace. The humor is going to definitely. Abby's a hoot and a holler. I love that girl. I got to tell you that right now. She's as soon as she gets back and she dives into the show with us, you guys will see some new angles and some new stuff that we have planned. So this is us doing this for right now, and we're fine tuning what we're doing. But just know that there are some changes. I mean, not drastic stuff, but it's more additions than changes. But yeah, no, that's it.
Okay. Hold on. Let me see what I did here. Give me 1 second. Okay. So now that you have your formula and you've looked back at what you're doing, what kind of changes do you think you're going to be making?
So one of the things that I've kind of noticed is in some of my questioning and watching my analytics as I'm asking questions, I think I need to save a few more of the hard hitting questions for later in the podcast or vlogcast or whatever this thing is called.
Right.
We just call it the show. Because we are kind of towards the end of it, we're starting to lose a few people, like the last 5-10 minutes. We're seeing people kind of cutting off. It is a long show. I get that. The commitment of an hour is kind of tough. So I would like to see us kind of cut it down to 45. But at the same time, I don't ever want to cut a guest short. So if they're coming on and they're giving us good quality stuff and we can just call an audible,
Right.
we're all hooked up on our cell phones also. So we're communicating between us. I mean, the folks that are on the show and the folks that are off the show supporting us. So we're communicating between us as the show is going on. And you know, how it plays. And, you know, Randy's notorious for when we're using Zoom meetings. So when I don't get off the screen, Randy will show me a screenshot that says, Kurt, you're still on screen. I'm like, oh, click. Because I'm running the show now. I mean, it's not initially what we started out to do, me running the show. I was just going to be hosting it, but I'm actually running the show. So everything that happens, all the firing off of all the graphics is me. It was initially going to be James Jackson, and we were going to be doing some network broadcast style equipment, or not style, but network broadcast equipment that we were going to be using. But his schedule is really, really kind of tough to be able to utilize him. So we found, you know, we got OBS Studio. We figured out Zoom meetings was the best quality that we could get. It's not perfect, but I think it's better than Hangouts. We think it is. We've kind of tested both of them. We've looked at it. We've recorded both of them. We've looked at them, and we think we get a better stream out of Zoom. And that's just an opinion thing. I'm not an expert on streaming, so
I've seen Zoom, and
yeah.
I will tell you that I think it has a very clear picture.
Mm-hmm.
It brings all the people in to be able to be on the screen. You know, especially in an interview, that makes it really nice. Instead of this constantly going back and forth. So I like Zoom. I know it's like $20 a month. Is that right?
It's so the initial plan is $14.95 a month, and yeah, you get 40 minutes free, and we thought about that, and then we got to talking about it, and we utilize it for meetings between all of us as well, and some of those meetings are definitely going longer than 40 minutes. So I just said, you know, at some point we're going to have somebody sponsor us or something, and so let's just buy into it, and eventually we'll have them take over. But right now I'm paying for it out of my own pocket. So
Right. That's how that always works, isn't it?
oh yeah.
Because, you know, I try to put anything I make on here back into my channel. And I say tried because it's just how it has to go in the beginning.
Yep.
Right? Try to get all the equipment, all the stuff you need to be able to produce something. So I want to say hi to everyone in the chat real quick.
Yeah.
FPV, Furball Novice Squads, Thomas O'Sullivan. I love the name Papa Doc. I just want to keep saying it. It's just cool. Miss Ryder Die, I just love seeing you. Thank you for coming in. I think I said Thomas O'Sullivan, Novice Squads. We have Michael Roach in the house. Michael Roach. And I'm going to have him on Tuesday night, so that's going to be a lot of fun. And let's see. Rolex. Rolex. Okay. Drone Evolution. Well, I think I saw Phantom Flight 101, did I not? Geeksvania, thank you. Robert, I did send you a link if you want to come on and do a in-person mod. I am fine with that. A little bit later, I'm going to be asking Paul to jump in for me. Let's see, I think we're good. You know, one of the reasons I don't think people know is that they always go about your security team, Roger. And I always send Roger a link. I love Roger. But Roger can't get into my stream anymore. He can come in, but we can't get the sound to work.
That's wild.
You know, it's always, and it's frustrating because Roger and I have been doing this for a long time. And one of the reasons why I like having someone like Roger on the stream. Okay, I just sent Roger a link anyway. But the reason why I like having someone in is every once in a while I have to get up and leave the room. My dog's go insane, something occurs. It's just me. I don't have a tribe. Insane, Curtis. I don't have a tribe. Roger is at his son's house. Okay, I sent him something. But anyway, it's nice for me to say, hey, can you take over for me?
Yeah.
And I'll be right back. And otherwise, you're just telling the person on the stream, you may have noticed, hey, just talk.
Just talk amongst yourself for a second there, you know?
Just let me see a really long question. And you were born where and why? I'll be right back.
Yeah, really. The why is the good part. The where is easy, but the why would be fun.
Why?
Yeah.
So tell me something. When you started putting this show together, from conception to inception, how long did that take you?
Well, it's still a work in progress. So, I mean, that would be the honest answer. So we ran into some roadblocks trying to get network equipment to work with internet technology, and we were fighting something that we were using, like, when I say network, I mean like broadcast news quality equipment. We were having a hard time trying to make that work correctly. So that was something that slowed us down. If we had not tried that and we just went directly using OBS studios and stuff like that, we could have been on the air within a week or two. So there was an initial 4 weeks before, from conception to the first week of designing the show and coming up with what we wanted to do, a week of polishing it, and then 2 weeks of kind of sitting around waiting for stuff to kind of work and figure itself out. And finally it was like, I said, no, we're going live. We're just doing this.
Yeah. So about
4 weeks before we actually got on. And the initial idea behind the show of what we thought we were going to be doing is actually changed too. What had happened was several of us, well, as you know, Facebook can be kind of toxic at times. So what happened is several of us, instead of sharing stuff on Facebook, we would start doing Google Hangouts offline, and we would talk about products. And in this particular case, we were talking about all the different mounts that can be used with the Mavic 2 Pro. Polar Pro has one, Mav Mount has one. There's just so many of them out there, and a bunch of us had bought different ones. So we all got on Google Hangouts. We talked about each one. We held it up. Okay, I like this. I don't like this. And we eventually came to some conclusions. Well, while we're doing that, I thought, wow, this is like great stuff. We should put this into groups. We should have recorded this thing. So the initial idea of creating a show came from that. But the guys didn't want to do another, 6 guys sitting around talking about one thing. They wanted to actually put on a show. They thought it would be a lot better. And then as we got to talking, we said, well, we know all these people in the industry. We've all been around since, the original Phantom. Let's just start calling the people we know and make up a list of guests that we can have on the show. And right now, I think we have something like 32 weeks filled and ready to go.
So you have a lot to go.
Oh yeah. We're having to make some adjustments and stuff, but yeah, we're doing good.
So what is it? Oh, Quilly Kirk, Eden Valley, welcome. And Ari, how you doing? Thomas O'Sullivan, love seeing you. So now you have this formula. What is your watch time on your show? How long do people stay?
We're hitting between 30 and 47 minutes.
That's good.
Yeah.
I mean, if you talk to most people doing live shows, I think that's a good stay.
By the way, if anybody's looking, I just put the link to the show in there.
Thank you. I just put the names.
Yeah. I saw that.
Drone Owners Network.
Yeah. So I put the actual link in there if you guys want to go check it out. Subscribe, like, all that fun stuff. There's some good content in there, and there's AirMagic. If you guys are just beginning to develop your photos and stuff like that, AirMagic, it uses artificial intelligence. Go watch that interview. That is some amazing stuff. Plus, we have a discount code in the interview so that you can get a little break in there for that software. Check that out.
Talk to me about AirMagic.
AirMagic is a company in Ukraine. Um, they came to us and said they wanted to do something with us, and they had developed some. So they had developed some other software, but the Air Magic thing was the one that was the most appealing because in the Facebook groups there are so many new pilots. I mean, I remember when we got up to the Inspire One days, it was pretty much the same people that were buying drones all the time. So the guys that had the Phantom 3 bought the Inspire One, the Phantom 2s or the Visions or those would go buy the Inspire One. The guys that bought the Inspire Ones would buy the Phantom 3s. It just became this thing. But somewhere along the line, and I'm admin for a bunch of different groups as well. And as I would see people coming in and you're checking to make sure they're drone people and not, somebody spamming or whatever. And you're checking to see, and you see that they're in your other groups. You're like, okay, so I can let this guy in. He's in another drone group or something like that. But then when the Mavic Pro came out, something different happened. And we started seeing people that had never flown a drone before, not associated with any drone channels or any drone Facebook groups at all. So we knew right away that, oh, this is when we're actually rolling over. This is when this thing is actually taking off. So for me, it was the Mavic Pro. Everybody else says it's the Mavic Air when the Mavic Air came out. And again, the Mavic Air, a lot of people that were coming in are first-time drone folks, the same with the Spark. But for me, as I was watching it all happen in real time, because every day I get up in the morning and I check my groups and see who wants to get in the group and kind of run down the list. And a good 90% of the 200 people that I would let in, 90% of them were new pilots that do not belong to any other drone Facebook groups. To me, that's a key that, this is your first drone. And then some of the questions that were coming in the group were like first time drone questions, So, yeah.
Yeah, I think, I always tell people about the 100th monkey, like, you know what I mean, where these monkeys were taking their bananas, dipping in water to eat them. It was on this island, and next thing you know, the first monkey who did it got beat up. The other monkeys did not like it, and I am not kidding you. They have a very tight social network. And then after a while, they all started doing it, and then all the monkeys on all the different islands were doing it. They don't know why or how, and they call it the 100th monkey. So by the time it gathered speed, then bam, grew exponentially. And I think that's what's happening with the drones right now.
Yeah, I agree.
Growing exponentially. That's why, even though we have people saying that we're not going to be able to fly, and I think it's getting somewhat limited because people are scared, it's just not going to happen. People are still going to fly because there's just too many drones out there right now.
Oh yeah, well there's more drones than there are pilots. I mean pilots that fly planes, period.
Right.
So, from a sheer voting point of view, we're going to outvote.
Right. And I think people love flying, especially when you have something that makes it look like you're semi-professional, like a Mavic Pro would, right? Without having to be professional. Right?
Oh, exactly. I agree. Yeah.
So what is your favorite drone to fly?
Oh, without a doubt, right now, the Mavic Pro 2. I just sold my Inspire One. So I can give you a nice little story about both those. Okay. When I would take the Inspire, and I usually take all my drones out with me, but I'll only pull out one at a time. The other ones stay in the truck. I know a lot of guys will bring out the table and they'll set everything up, but I bring out one drone at a time. I just do it that way. I would bring out my Inspire and it would take off, and the wings would go, or the arms would go up in the air and stuff. And so inevitably somebody would come over and I would get you fly over my house, I'm going to shoot that thing down, da 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 da. And right. And I would have that whole conversation with them about that. But then 5 minutes later, I'd pull out the Mavic Pro at the time and I'd fly it. And it's almost like the same person would come over and go, that's a drone? Yeah. Does it have a camera? Yeah. That is so neat. So it's an intimidation factor. I mean, you have this big menacing looking Inspire One in the air. So I decided, okay, that's enough. I'm selling this thing. The camera when I got the Mavic Pro 2, the camera's better than the Inspire One. There was really no reason to put it up in the air other than it's fun to fly. I had carbon fiber props on it. I got the thing up to 70 miles an hour at one time, but I just wasn't flying it. So like all the drones that I own, eventually I sell them. right now I've gotten rid of everything. I'm down to one. Well, so I've got some other stuff that's not DJI, but as far as DJI drones go, I've got the Phantom 4 Pro, and I have the Mavic 2 Pro, and I'm just about ready to sell my my Phantom 4 Pro. I know the camera's slightly better, but I just don't like the sound of it. It annoys me. And it's more to carry, I mean, I have a backpack for it and all that, but it's the batteries are larger, and we all know there's new stuff coming. So it's like, you got to get prepared for that. So, I personally think it's just the Phantom's done. So I'm ready to sell that thing. I got a lot invested in it. I've got a smart power charger, which is like a $399 power charger that charges 4 batteries at once, plus conditions your batteries and all that. So selling it's not going to be so easy because I have so much stuff that goes with it. But if I sell the drone, I can part out the other stuff. That's another story though. But so yeah, no, the one I like flying. In fact, I flew Saturday with a bunch of guys. Is the Mavic 2 Pro. Now the other one I like flying is my Parrot Disco Wing.
Right.
The video on that is not so good, but it's a lot of fun to fly. You need a big space for that thing to land, though.
Do you?
Yeah. Well, and it's ironic because a lot of the flight controls and the things that make it so easy to fly make it hard to land. The landing space that it needs to do its auto land is pretty long. It's like half a football field length. Whereas if you were just flying it, you could land it in about 10 feet there. So what inspires me to be a drone pilot? I don't know that anything inspires me to be one. I can tell you that, okay, so I have to kind of back up. When I was doing the 3D graphics and stuff, I was at Adobe. By the way, if you guys don't know this, After Effects is the stuff that you use to do all this fancy stuff. I don't know if we can play this on here or not, but so I was going up to Adobe in Seattle, which is where they make After Effects. And we were having a conversation up there about camera tracking. And camera tracking is where you take, I'm going to geek out here, sorry, is where you take a piece of footage and you track the footage and create a virtual camera so that you can put a 3D object that looks like it's actually in there. And we were trying to animate a 3D city, a camera flying through a 3D city, and not a real city, but it was looking too stock. Oh, he meant that for you. I meant that for you though.
Yeah.
So it was looking too stock. Well, I had heard about the drones and stuff, so I ordered one. And what I'd suggested to the guys at Adobe was that we fly this drone and camera track that footage, but apply the camera trackers to the actual 3D city and see what happens. And it actually worked. It looked more realistic, like it was a helicopter flying through this city, as opposed to us trying to animate this camera flying through the city. And it was a point of view from the helicopter pilot as he was flying through the city. So it was a lot of money to spend on an idea, because I had to order the drone from China. They came out in January of 2013. I ordered this in February of 2013. So I was like on board from the very, very beginning. But that was my initial interest in drones. And I didn't think I would carry on with it after that. But then I started flying and it was like, oh, wow. So I got addicted.
Right. It's not hard. I think a lot of people suffer from drone addiction.
Yeah.
We're starting a support group, but all they want to talk about it failed.
Hi, I'm Curtis. I'm a drone pilot.
Yeah, they just want to talk about drones in the drone addiction group. So we decided to scruff it for a while and not continue.
That would be a live show.
So tell me about your tribe.
My tribe. Well, I don't really call them a tribe. And the part of this conversation that Val is not telling you guys about was, like, I don't even remember how it started, to be honest with you. It was something about, I said something about my staff and Val went off on the tribe thing. So over the years, I've made quite a good number of friends in the drone community. And when you find like-minded people that have like-minded personalities, and those are two different things, finding people that are not only think like you, but also believe like you, you tend to gravitate towards them and hang out with them a lot more. And when I started talking to these guys about this show, I had a bunch of people that were interested in being part of this thing. And although the people that are in this, what I call my staff, or the Dawn staff, I should say, not everybody is on air. Everybody is kind of helping out in one way or another, whether they're looking up stories or, they're finding stuff something we want to do, or they're making phone calls. We got guys, we're working on a podcast, which is, probably shouldn't say that just yet because we don't have it nailed down yet what we're going to do, but we have a guy working on a podcast for us. We're working on t-shirts, and these are all people that are on our staff that are behind there. So, just for lack of a better term, I just said, hey, everybody's on the Dawn staff. And I just assumed everybody had a staff. It's just my friends. It's all it is. I mean, people I love and respect. And and then I mentioned this to Val, and Val went off on me like, how do you have a staff? Nobody has a staff. And I go,
well, yeah, but if you look at your channel and the graphics which you do and all the things that go into it, my staff, I bounce ideas off Roger and Paul, furball, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But that's about it.
Well, it's a start. I mean, you call it a tribe, and it's essentially the same thing. It's just, it's a term of endearment the way I look at it. So, but yeah, no, I have a bunch of people that are like-minded that have the similar goals that I do, and they want to put on this show and make it professional and fun. So yeah, we have a staff, and I totally love that these guys are interested in what we're wanting to do and want to move this thing forward. I think it's great.
Yeah, I guess I've always said tribe because it always, to me, I think I got it from Sean Cannell, but it always seems to me, and probably to you too, I would assume, but we'll see, that the people who come in and kind of help you navigate those beginning stuff and all the other stuff, they're kind of more than just people about. They care about what you're doing, right? The kind of, I don't know, just tribe seems kind of just, we're all just in this together because we are, aren't we?
Right.
Yeah.
So I want to take a minute and do a shout out for my staff. So on my staff, I've got Abby Lyle, Corey Jacobs, James Jackson, who's a producer of our show, Tommy Polo, you guys know, the news guy, Randy Foster. He's one of the broadcast guys. He can't always make the show, so that's why we sometimes have stand-ins. Scott Glacier, Stig Idesol, our guy from Norway, Timothy Huxall, and Troy Graham. All these guys are just part of the staff, and I want to thank each and every one of them for being a part of the show. So anyway, there is that.
I think Robert's in trouble now, but Robert, I'm watching you. I'm watching you. Yeah, I think the guys that you have are fantastic. I do. I think to put that together. Now, when you did that beginning,
mm-hmm.
How did you decide what you wanted to have? Because it's a pretty powerful beginning.
Oh, the intro to the show?
You want to play it?
Do what?
Do you want to share your screen and play your intro?
If you wanted to, I'd probably easier for you to share it, but I don't. Yeah, sure. If you want to go to do whatever you want to do is fine with me.
The reason why I said you is because I thought that'd be easier for copyright because you'd be.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Let me see if I can get to it from here.
I'm gonna ask you, Robert. Don't worry. After the show, guys, I want you to see what he has on this intro, and you guys need to go see it because it was like, it was pretty radical, and not in a bad. Novice, you didn't have to do that. Thank you. You're very sweet. I think he's trying to get. If this is getting back at me, Novice, oh my God, no, I don't.
I don't know if you can hear the audio, so let me turn this up. So let me go over here and share my screen again. Screen share.
And I'm going to turn you up a little.
Share.
Okay, guys, watch this thing.
Well, let me
get all the way to the beginning and look at it.
And welcome to the Drone Owners Network. I'm your host, Curtis. Joining me today, Abby Lyle. Also, Tommy Polo's here with the latest in drone news. We got a great show lined up for you. a former NASA astronaut who's also climbed Mount Everest and is the author of The Sky Below, and now has his own tech startup company, Fluidity. Dr. Scott Berezinski joins us live next.
Charge your batteries, lock in those props, and check that airspace. Join us live. This is the Drone Owners Network.
Boom! We are
There you go.
back.
Thank you. No, Dave, sorry. Wait, who else has pay you the 5, not you pay for this? Yeah, so I gotta say, I don't know what you guys thought, but I saw that, I thought, wow, yeah, right, Thomas? That was crazy.
So that evolved over about a week and a half of discussion. I had one idea for the second portion of it, and even the motion graphics where you're seeing the Mavic 2 Pro in the scene. And there's, like I said, there's more to that. I could actually play more of that stuff because I made a whole 3-minute segment that we cut it down to just that. And then we were talking to various guys about doing voiceovers, and Randy said, "Hey, let's find somebody from England, a female with an English voiceover." So I posted on my Facebook page, and I'm friends with Romeo Dersher, and he knew Abby Lyle and said, "Abby, call Curtis now." And Abby called me, and in the minute I heard her voice, and she does voiceovers professionally, so that's her voice in there. And then from there, just in talking to her, it was like, wow, you are fun. So we immediately made her part of the show, and she started hanging out with us. We have a private chat and a private group that we're in, and she's just a lot of fun. So we just incorporate, instead of just using her voice for that intro, we incorporated her into it. She's got some stuff she has to get through, some business stuff, and as soon as she gets done, we have a whole segment that we're working up with her. So it's going to be a lot of fun. But thank you for the compliments on the intro to the show. The first part was initially what we were going to do, and then I kept thinking we needed to. We were talking about the intros for various people and the fact that our co-hosts are going to be changing because everybody's schedule changes.
Oh.
So that's why that kind of came out. Randy Foster was not in that logo. Abby Lyle was, and she came in for that show, and she had to really put things on the back burner so that she could make that show. But Randy was definitely out on assignment, so he couldn't make it. So we were talking about that, and I'm a fan of the old Saturday Night Live stuff and the David Letterman type stuff, and just that idea, that concept was something I kind of ran with. And it's going to that intro is going to evolve over time, but it's generally going to stay the same. But there's going to be some changes here and there. I'll swap out scenes. I'm going to go out and film some other stuff and pop something in. So there'll always be something interesting. The other thing that I don't think a lot of people realize is we put an Easter egg in our shows. So if you've not seen the very end of our show, we use a Looney Tunes outro. Have you seen that?
I didn't. Really quick, Miss Ride or Die, thank you very much. You are very sweet. You're very sweet. Thank you. I did not see the very end.
Let me just share that with you here for just a second,
Okay.
because there is a nice little Easter egg at the end that most people don't even realize is there. We're going to go share, go over here.
Sorry. Will we be able to install new? Definitely, guys. So anyway, that's it for us. We will see you guys next week. Be sure and tune in next week.
Be sure and turn your sound up.
More surprises for you guys. I'll tell you all about that later.
Nice.
Wait. This is what everybody misses of this right here. We call this guy Dave.
The show is over. Why are you still here, Dave? Dave's not here. Ha ha ha. I made a joke. You are in a restricted area. Unauthorized access. Violation code 356874. Cyber intrusion detected. Security protocol initiated. Begin hacking user database. Firewall penetration successful. Encryption sequence initiated. Rootkit uploaded. Botnets activated. Distributed denial of service attack. Begin now. Malware generated. Goodbye, loser.
Yeah. Oh, that is great. That is great.
So we've there's a few different ones that we put together. This is Dave, and there's a sequence coming up where let me turn this down. There's a sequence coming up where Dave gets fired by Randy, and he's looking for a job, and there's all kinds of other silly stuff. But I digress. That's most everybody turns the podcast off as soon as I say goodbye, and they don't see the Looney Tunes thing. And we're going to start putting some little juicy little tidbits in the end, like discount codes and stuff like that, so that we can get people to watch all the way through or come back and watch and find it.
Right.
That's going to be one of that's one of our little tricks of the thing, is to get, as soon as you think the podcast is over and we say goodbye and we do our outro, wait a couple seconds, because there may be something else at the very end. We got that from Marvel Studios, of course.
Okay, I needed to see, what is this? Oh, I see. I'm just going to put that on there. Okay, so do they let you do that? Because it's kind of like, do you know what I mean? Is that's not copyright, right?
What's not copyright?
Well, like you're ending with the not the Dave ending, the Disney.
The Disney one. So it's not so there's a couple of musicians I work with specifically that wrote something that sounds very, very similar, but it's not the same song. It sounds very, very similar. And then there's no Porky Pig, and there's none of That's All Folks or any of that. So no, it's not a copyright issue.
Oh, good. Yeah. I love it. I think it's great.
Yeah, no, we've strongly been working with the idea of copyright problems because of our news segment, and doing a lot of research and emails between YouTube and stuff like that, trying to figure out exactly what we can do, because it's hard to do. I know there's other shows that put on videos from somebody else. I know the tornado one was getting passed around by everybody, and everybody's putting it on, but I don't think you can legally do that. If you were strictly a news show and it was a news item, yes, but we're not strictly a news show. We have a news segment, so I don't know that we can do that. And there's quite a few other shows, like I said, live shows that are just putting that on. And in all honesty, they could get sued just for what they've put on.
Right.
The guy that made that, I messaged him and said, hey, I'd like to have you on the show, and I'd like to talk about, what you did and the challenges that you had and what you experienced while that thing was going on. And he said, not interested. It's for sale. If you want to buy it, you can buy the footage. But other than that, he's not interested in doing anything. So I know he's doing this for monetary reasons.
Yeah. So what do you think about that?
About what?
About him doing that for monetary reasons.
More power to him. If I was there, I would have filmed it, and I want to get paid. I have a piece of footage that I'm sitting on that nature did something that is amazing. Yeah. And I'm just trying to figure out but I haven't put it out there. It's a rather humorous piece. It's rather large. It's rather graphic. And it's essentially, it has to do with water coming up on the beach and a guy flying a kite on the beach. I don't, there's a rogue wave that comes in, and what happens is something that nobody has ever seen before. And I'm sitting on this footage trying to figure out the best way to monetize this footage. So no, I don't begrudge that at all, that he wants to monetize it. It's his footage. He filmed it, and if he wants to charge people to have it, that's cool.
I think that is exactly right. I know some people get upset when they hear the words monetization, right? But right. That's what this is, right? If you get a remarkable footage and you put it on your channel.
Well, we get up in the morning and we go to work. It's monetization, period. We're a society that lives off of, boy, this could get deep. We're a society that lives off us earning an income. So how we earn that income, some people get a break here and there by finding something that's very unique and able to monetize it. In that particular situation, he just happens to go out and hunt for weather situations, and he's very versed in finding them. So it was not by chance that he found it. He did find it and was looking for it, and he knew what he was going to get. But for him to want to make money off of it, I applaud it. Yeah. I was not offended that he said, "Hey, I'll sell it to you. I'll sell you the rights to use it." I was not offended by that, but so be it. But just a warning for everybody else that put it on your shows. If he finds out, there's a real chance he could come after you.
Yeah, and that's the truth of it. And you know, if you're gonna put it on your shows, it should be yours, right? Unless
Right.
you.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
why even when you play your pro, so you can share it, you can play it because it's something that you have knowledge that you're doing, right?
Right. Exactly.
And this is, you know, going to be watched. But I do love that intro. I do love that intro. So now, where do you see your channel going?
More of the same. Like I said, it's been a huge rush communicating with a lot of people and getting the schedule filled out. And there's been a few adjustments for guests and stuff, but yeah, our center of our nexus of what we're doing is around our guests, and we have some really unique guests coming on. We have some very high level guests coming on, and then we've got some people that nobody knows about that we think are important that are coming on, and
Right.
all of those guests are important to us, and we think they should be important to other people, which is why we're putting them on the show. So yeah, it's going to be more of that, a little bit more of a refinement on little things. I don't think it's stuff that people are really going to see. It's more us kind of. We do an after show critique where after the show's over, the guest hangs around for a few minutes. We talk with them a little bit more about, you know, some other stuff, and they usually reveal a little bit more about what's going on in their world that they didn't want to necessarily reveal to the public at that time. Then
Right.
they take off, and then we kind of hang around and talk amongst ourselves and say, hey, what did you think of this? What did you think of that? And then usually Sunday after the show, we'll start getting some preliminary analytics from YouTube. Usually by Wednesday, we got a full set of analytics, and I'll sit down and go through them, and I know a couple of the other guys will too. And we'll see what works and what doesn't work, and beat each other up over it.
So let me really quick say hi to some people in the chat. Miss Ride or Die, Eden Valley Drones, Furball still in the house, Green Patches. Everyone knows Juneau County Droner. That's Robert Stanton. He's been doing our moderation. Mike Roach. He does a howl voice. I bet you do. You do a lot of great voices. Let me see. I think we had just someone come in. We had Drone Shots coming in. And so hi to you. If I missed anyone. Oh, why am I in Top Chat again? Oh, it's making me crazy, guys. This Top Chat is making me crazy. There we go. There we are. Hey, Jerry, how you doing? And Jerry's still here. Yes. Yes, thank you so much, Jerry. No, I didn't notify you, Siri. Stay off. All my stuff comes on. Essex 2112. Good evening to you. Of course, Thomas O'Sullivan is still in the house. So as you're progressing, and you do that critique at the end, because when I work in dispute resolution stuff, and everyone leaves, the people who helped with that, we all say, and we kind of debrief to see what went on, what we need to do, and next time what's going to make things even better. So I didn't realize that you were doing that, but that's pretty powerful because that continued to move you forward.
Yeah, we're pretty serious about what we're doing. There's a lot that's going on behind the scenes. We don't, you know, myself and the staff don't always agree on things, and that's fine. Somebody said something to me here. Anyone have questions? Oh, anyone have questions for Curtis? Yeah. And that's fine that we disagree, because I firmly believe that when you get 5 people in the room, the best ideas will rise to the top, and the ones that, you know, that everybody throws out that aren't so good just kind of sit there. And so that's another reason for, you know, having a tribe, as you say.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, we spend a great deal of time.
So have you gotten a lot of help from the outside talking to you about what other people feel would work on your channel?
We have a what we call a behind the scenes, a BTS group, Drone Owners Network. And we've utilized that to a certain extent, where we would come in on Sunday and say, what did you guys think of the show, and stuff like that. What I've been finding is that people just join Facebook groups, and then all of a sudden they just want to post their videos. So we started the group, and all of a sudden guys are posting their aerial videos and they're not answering the questions, you know, that I would pose and say, hey, what did you guys think of this guest? Should I've asked different questions and stuff like that? And I got a few people that would be interested in it and are talking about it, but then we have other people that are just posting, you know, hey, go watch my video, that kind of stuff.
So what do
So
you think about that?
How do I feel?
Yeah, you start a Facebook group and you think it's moving direction. Next thing you know, it just becomes an advertisement page.
Well, it's not really an advertisement page. I don't begrudge somebody, you know, wanting to share their videos or something like that. Facebook is not the perfect medium for us to do what we're doing, and I don't think there is really you know, we're not high enough up the ladder, I think, to get that community thing that Facebook is talking about, where you have the community on your channel, on your YouTube channel. So and Facebook and YouTube, they have this big, we don't like each other kind of thing. You know, that's another good topic of question here, but well, let me go, because I think that's a little more interesting, is the fact that Facebook, if you just post a link to your YouTube channel and say, hey, we're going live, or we're doing this, or I made this video, your thumbnail is smaller, and it's, you know, it's not always the most flattering thing, and it tends to disappear down the timeline pretty fast. Whereas, you know, if you do a Facebook video, it's a nice big Facebook, you know, big thumbnail kind of thing. So I've went and watched a few people who were talking about that, and the thing that we're doing now is we're taking our thumbnail from the YouTube page and posting that photo, and we're talking in the post about, hey, we're going to go live, and then the first comment is the actual link to the live thing. We tried it with the link in the deal, but it seems to disappear down the timeline a little faster. So now what we're doing is we're putting the link to the show on the different Facebook groups that we post this in. We're putting it down in the first comment, and it seems to work a little bit better. It's all kinds of little things like that you kind of got to kind of figure out to make your show get out there and have people seeing it. And then, you know, coming on shows like this is a great way for us to kind of get what we're doing out there.
Right. And a lot of, well, one thing I know about Facebook is it's not always, people are always looking at what you're doing throughout. They like posting stuff. They want you to really see what they're doing.
Right.
And of course, that is part of it, right?
Well, that's human nature. The world revolves around you. That's just natural for everybody. But then at some point in time, people look around and go, oh, there's other things. And that's kind of where but it's just human nature for us to say everything that's around me is the most important thing. But then, like I said, you know, when you have a extra second, you kind of look outside yourself, I think, and you go, oh, there's this other cool thing over here. So when people come into the Facebook group, they're coming into it for their own personal reasons. You know, today I'm going to log into a Facebook group, and there's a reason why I am logging into a Facebook group. It's not to go find Curtis or Val or anybody else. I'm going to do something for myself. And hey, look, I found something else that was there that I'm not necessarily looking for. So there is that.
Eden Valley says, I don't post my videos on Facebook. You get too much crap back from
Facebook can be, you know, if you're not a brick wall, Facebook can be very toxic.
It can be toxic. But one thing I think is, when you do put them on the drone channels within Facebook, like I now belong to the 5 boroughs, even though I'm not in New York and I'm not part of the 5 boroughs. And there are a few people who post their stuff on. That is stellar stuff. And I'll watch it on there. As much as I say sometimes it's just advertising, that's how sometimes you can see what's going on around you, what people are flying, and the interesting things they're doing.
I agree. You know, the people come on Facebook, and they're generally doing it for themselves and for their own personal reason. And as they're there, they find other things that are interesting. So it's when you step outside of yourself. Right.
So can YouTube, you must be able to give what you choose and take what you like. True that. Oh, Facebook is evil. So can YouTube, for that matter. You know,
I've been very lucky. Of course, I'm like a brick wall. I take what people say, it's like whatever. And I know I sometimes things bother me, but very rarely, I think. But if you talk to my close friends, they're like, "Oh, you're really getting pissed off about this, Kurt." So I don't know. It depends on how you look at it. But generally speaking, I try to not pay attention to Facebook because people don't put a lot of time and effort into making comments. Usually it's like they read something and they go, well, it was stupid, based on their opinion real quick. And they'll just quickly answer. And if they'd spend a little more time thinking about what they were going to say, they would give more meaningful answers, I think. So in some ways, yeah, it can be a toxic, evil place. But at the same time, it can be very productive as far as my business of selling people logo stings like the intro to our show.
Mm-hmm.
And I should bring that up, is that that's what I do for a lot of these folks is, they'll contact me and say, hey, I need a logo sting. Trying to keep up with what they're saying over there, what I'm saying. Facebook has been very good financially for me. So that's why I'm still on Facebook and still utilizing it. Otherwise I really would have no way of contacting folks or having folks contact me or play some of my content that I've created, which is probably a good moment for me to play one of my demo reels, don't you think?
You can go ahead.
Okay. I gotta find one here real quick. Where's a good one to
Okay, Robert. So I think YouTube and all these other is a good place for everyone, but I think there are enough bad people on the platform that it makes it so if you're somebody with a lot of heart, it can make it difficult. It can make it difficult if you take it personally. I just figure people are going to do what they do and they're going to be who they are, and then they can go from there.
So here, let me share my screen real quick here. When I talk about so this is a demo reel of various intros to folks' YouTube channels. So it may seem like it's advertising for all these different people. It is. It's stuff I've sold to folks. It's just a demonstration of some of the work that I've done. So let me play this for you guys.
Okay. Work. I know.
We'll get out of that. That can go on and on and on.
That I think we're getting kind of the same. Wow. You mind me asking how much an intro costs?
Let's see, Thomas O'Sullivan. So generally speaking, let me preface this by saying I work with really professional companies that are making and earning a big income, which makes it easier for me to do what I do. The stuff that I do is 3D graphics. So there's multiple sides to this stuff. So that was a caveat before I give you the answer to that. Generally speaking, it's $300.
Yeah.
Now I'm waiting for everybody to go, what?
No, that's about right. I think that's what I heard. what you want as far as logos. I've talked to other artists and people who design.
Mhm.
It's you can always go on Fiverr and get something
Yeah.
for $5, 10, 15.
So
But you'll
Fiverr is my biggest competitor, and competition is good. The situation with Fiverr is a lot of it is some kid in India that stole the software and is using a template. He's not making something original, and that's the problem with it. Is there he's going on a place like Video Hive and he's buying a template and he's selling you a template that everybody else has. So your logo looks exactly like somebody else's. It just has your name on it. Whereas the stuff that I do, I sit down with it. I don't sit down. I usually get on a Zoom hangout or I talk to the customer for a while. We talk about what they want to achieve, what they want to do, what they want the logo to do. There are a few people that I've turned down and said, no, I don't want to do this because, they get caught up in the art of the logo, as I like to call it, or sometimes I like to call them Star Wars fans, where they want, everything that happened in Star Wars to happen in their logo sting in 5 seconds. We can do that, but it doesn't service the customer. The thing about a logo sting is it's all about your name, and that's essentially it. It's just to let people know that, okay, this is interesting, and now I'm watching the show or watching whatever your content is, and your content is good. So next time I come back and I see that same outstanding 3D logo, I go, oh, this is the same guy I liked last time because of his content. It's not because of the logo. You don't necessarily have to have my kind of logo sting, and I'll be the first one to tell you that. Casey Neistat is a prime example. He just puts up a flat text, and that's it. That's his logo, and it's Casey Neistat. It's about the content, so you don't have to have what I have. But it's kind of like a vanity plate. When you buy a car and you want to have your channel really stand out from everybody else, it's one way of just an added dimension of adding to what you're already putting out there. So
right.
I tend to work with more higher end companies that have a little bit more cash flow, as opposed to people that are just kind of making videos that go on YouTube. I get a lot of people go, well, you can go on Fiverr. Well, the thing is, that kid in India, $5 is that's a month's pay for him, where it's not for me. So I can't necessarily compete with Fiverr at all. I live here in America, and it costs a lot more to live here in America. So the people that understand that and understand that I'm creating something custom specifically for them. I mean, we get down to with some of these folks. I just did some stuff for Johnson Space Center, and we were really, really particular about the color of every little single pixel that was in that frame. There's some other folks that I've worked with that were just, they sent me the actual RGB codes of what the color of everything in that logo sting should be. So when you're working with somebody that's creating something custom versus somebody that's just, making you something that, from a template or something else, that's a totally different deal. Okay. So let me get off that.
No, I agree. I went on Fiverr, asked him to do a logo for me because that's what, I just wanted to get something that I could put on something.
Right.
And so it made a good deal for me. But
exactly.
If it was an actual logo, if my channel were big, I wouldn't be doing Fiverr. But it is a good option for people who have $5, $10, and they charge a lot more. But if you want something more personalized, you have to go the bigger route. You have to do that.
Yeah, the risk is with Fiverr is that you're going to get something that somebody else has somewhere, and it's going, and if that doesn't bother you, that's not a big deal. The name change, first of all, is going to make the template that they bought and they're using, it's going to make it look slightly different to begin with, but it's not going to make it so much different that somebody that's looking at another channel, they'll go, oh, they've got the same intro. And that's not necessarily a good thing or a bad thing. When you're just a small YouTuber and just making your drone videos, it's not really a big deal. But when you're Johnson Space Center, you want something that's unique and going to stand out. So that's kind of where that kind of comes from.
Yeah, in all honesty, not everyone on Fiverr is from India.
No, they're not.
So let's not give that impression, only because, you don't want to send your money to India. But you can go on, if you have a talent and you can do some, you can go on Fiverr and say, hey, this is how much I charge and all that, and be on Fiverr too. What you're probably not going to be able to do is get the complete quality You're not going to get the quality that you get from someone who's looking at all of your stuff in totality and kind of going at it from that point, right? And helping you develop. What Fiverr wants you to do is you tell me exactly what you want here, and then I'll make it and I'll send it to you. And let me tell you, you get what you pay for.
A lot of them, I've gone on Fiverr. A lot of them say, here's the logo. I will put your name in this logo.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that's what you get. Whereas, you know, what I do is I sit down and talk to people. We talk about font, we talk about colors, we talk about music, we talk about everything that's going to go into this deal. I spend a lot of time, you know, I mentioned Adobe earlier. There's classes that they're not classes, they're kind of seminars or evening get-togethers where they talk to motion graphic designers about stuff and the kind of things that we do and what should be suggested. And one of the most interesting things that I think that your viewers would be interested in. A while back, I did this one that was, and YouTube was there, and they were talking about real estate videos and drones and doing motion graphics for these things. And they said the absolute perfect situation and to get the most amount of views and the most amount of effectiveness is somebody's hitting for coupons. The most amount of effectiveness is a 5-second 3D logo sting with 2 minutes of awesome content. The logo sting should not have any of your contact information. It should only be your name. It's a reveal of your name. And then 2 minutes of your awesome drone footage and inside aerial or inside footage of the house and all that. At the very end is where you put what we call a splash screen. And there's no animation to it. It's all your contact information. And what that does, what happens now is you get this person clicks on your awesome thumbnail. They see this fantastic intro and go right into this amazing drone footage and whatever your content is, and they like it. So at the very end of the video, when they go, hey, I like that, how do I get hold of that person? All the contact information is at the end. They don't have to go back to the beginning and kind of figure out what it was.
Right.
Or search for it. It's all right there. And you leave that splash screen up for, 30, 40 seconds so they can read it and write it down or whatever they need to do. That's what YouTube is suggesting is a great idea. I suggest that to a lot of people, but I don't see them actually doing that. They want to put their contact and their email and their phone number and their logo sting. And I'm like, guys, that's too much stuff. It just needs to be your name. It's just like, there's your name. Now we're into your footage and we're having a good time.
So really quick, I'm going to put Robert. Can you take over for me for just a minute?
Yeah.
Okay, because my dog, I got to go. I'll be right back.
All right.
What's going on, Robert?
How are you today?
I'm doing good.
So you said you have an Inspire, right?
No, I sold my Inspire.
Oh, you sold your Inspire.
Yes.
So I don't know if Val asked this, but what is your main drone you go to?
So the main drone that I'm using right now is my Mavic 2 Pro. And it's getting a certain amount of balance between that and the Parrot Disco Wing that I have. I also have the Phantom 4 Pro, but everything else I've kind of sold. Well, I got a little racer guy here I'm playing with.
Oh, okay. Is that a 5-inch?
I don't know. I got into one of those deals with GearBest where they send you something and the thing never worked. Everybody's been through this. And I told him, no, I'm not going to do anything with you. I'm not interested. But I still have it, and I've gotten it to fly once. But I mean, the screws need to be replaced. I mean, when it arrived, it was horrible. I don't know how they can do that. They talk about, oh yeah, we want you to do a review of our thing, and they're going to send it to you, and it's a piece of crap. It's like, whatever. And then after I got it, I started hearing from everybody else and the problems they were having. I think someone's hitting for coupons.
Well, I put that out there. I said to Australian, I said, well, I'd pay for that, but maybe it would be better with a coupon code. But what I was getting at is, what is your website?
I don't have a website. So here's the thing: is I don't do this for a living. Strangely enough,
okay.
I have an actual real job that I go to every day. I work down at the Port of Tacoma, and that job pays really, really well. So all this other stuff that I do is it pays for the drones, and it's fun money. And the wife doesn't complain about anything when I get big boxes that show up and stuff like that because I'm earning all this other money. So generally speaking, like the other thing about these 3D logos is they take about a week to make. A lot of people,
it's not an easy task. It's everybody sees on those the Fiverr.
Yeah,
website. You're like, oh, well, put your name to this. And it's exactly what it is put your name on this logo.
Exactly.
And that's what you're paying the $5 for.
You'd be surprised at how many people put in there, hey, my name is Remote Pilots of Australia, and they misspell Australia or something like that. And I make it, because what I do is I copy paste everything in, the information they want me to put in there. And then after I make it, they go, oh, you misspelled it. And I go, well, dude, you spelled it.
That's what you gave me.
That's what you gave me. So now I've got to restart and go back over. That happens a lot. Or somebody says, I want my email address to come on as as a little tag at the very end of the logo sting, and they'll give me an email address. They'll come back 2 weeks later and go, oh yeah, I lost that email address. I had to create a new one. Can you make a new one for me?
Well, what a lot of people don't understand in videography, you have to re-render that whole thing all over again.
You talk about people complaining about 4K renders. Try rendering
8K
3D.
Or 3D,
3D stuff is amazing, and people don't understand that. If you were to take and type out text on let's say After Effects, and you rotate it sideways, it's 1 pixel thick.
Yeah.
So when you're looking, we're talking about for instance, 1980 by 1080. That's 1980 pixels by 1080 pixels, and it's 1 pixel thick. So when we're doing 3D stuff, it is multiple pixels thick. So we take a font that becomes the front of the text. We're making something for Remote Pilots of Australia, and he wants, I don't know, pick a font, I don't know, whatever font. Yeah. And he says, this is the font I want to use. So that becomes the front of it. Then I duplicate it, I move it back a few pixels, and then that becomes the rear of it. Then I create the sides, and that becomes the side of the thing. So, and you do that for each letter. And then you start adding other things, other elements to it from there. So, getting the font and the look and everything like that specific to what every customer wants is a time-consuming thing. It'd be a lot faster if that person was sitting over my shoulder while I'm creating it. But
and go, yeah, this is what I want. This is
half the time the guy's in Norway or he's in Amsterdam, and we have time changes between us. So. I'm ready to get a finalized version of this particular thing, but he's asleep at this particular time of day, So yeah, if they were standing right behind me, we could nail these things out within like 30 to 40 minutes, and not counting render time. Render time on some of these can take 24 hours sometimes.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But getting it all put together and ready to go, you could probably do it in an hour to 2 hours. But when you're doing it over the internet, and you're suggesting ideas to this person, I think that would work. This background that you're suggesting is not going to match that color scheme of what you're wanting. And sometimes you have to actually make it and show that to them. And then they go, oh yeah, I don't know what I was thinking, when they're adamant about something. So you kind of go through that. So $300 is really, in the long run, when you look at it, I got to say, that is a good price. That is a damn good price. When you go through the process, and when people have gone through the process with me, they go, dude, you're cheap. He goes, I don't know how. And here's the other thing. So when somebody contacts me and says, hey, I want you to make me a 3D logo, we begin this conversation first of all, and it doesn't cost you anything. And I stand behind 100% of everything that I make. So I don't require a deposit at all. I make what you want. I send it to you in Dropbox with a nice big red X through it and my name on it. It says property of Wingman Digital Media. Which is my company that I am. I'm actually a company. Right. I send it to you with that on there, and you can see it. And if you don't like it, all I ask you to tell me is why you don't like it, and if we can fix it. If you don't like it and you don't want it, you can walk away, no charge.
Exactly.
You can't find that anywhere else. So there's no down payment, no deposit, and if you don't like the work when I'm done, you can walk away, and it's fine.
So there's no. I'm sorry, Gal. Go ahead.
You Packville want to say hi? It's now John Latham. I hope I got that completely right. And Hadley's in the house, guys. We are talking to Curtis Dart. He is telling us all about what he does, how he does it, and it's some really fascinating stuff, because I think it makes it really nice to tell people, hey, if you don't like it, you don't have to pay for it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I stand behind my work, and to date, I've made something like, in the last I've been in official business for 6 years now. I've made around 6,000 logos for folks, and only 3 of them said they don't like what I made, and they refuse to pay for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's, you kind of, when you put that kind of an offer out there, people understand, hey, we're going to make something custom specific for you. We're not going to rush it. We're going to take our time. It's going to take about a week to kind of get this whole thing together. We get it out there to you. And if you just absolutely do not like it, you don't have to buy it from me.
Right.
My work stands for itself. Now, the other side of this thing, and I should bring this up because since we brought up Fiverr, is there are other artists out there that think that what I do is a bit over the top. Well, and I'm not really sure. I mean, I kind of get where they're coming from. There's the theology is that my stuff is so good, and I'm not saying that this is their words, not mine, that the stuff is so good that the footage afterwards doesn't match what we're doing. So that's why I kind of refer to the stuff that I do as vanity plates. You don't necessarily need a vanity plate on your car. It's just something that you want to do to stand out from everybody else. Now, granted, the high-end customers, the NASAs and all that stuff that I work with, those are totally different thing. But as far as your average drone guys that are looking at stuff, you can have what I would call just we call them flat graphics, where they don't rotate or anything. They just they're on the screen. They move around a little bit. They shift in from the left or the right or the top or the bottom. There's no rotation, no depth of field to them. Those are interesting and can be very good and very useful for you. But if somebody wants to really stand out from the word go, and trust me, there is millions of hours of drone footage online, you need to capture somebody's attention from the very first second they start your video.
Right.
And a 3D logo sting will do that.
So let me ask Robert a question. Okay, Robert, you heard what Curtis said.
Yeah.
Would you pay that much for a logo and that logo? What did you call it? A sting?
Yeah, it's called a
sting. Yeah.
The industry standard is called a logo sting, and the general idea is that it's a 5-second reveal of your name, 5 to 7 seconds. It depends on what's involved with the reveal. Like on one of them, I did like a street view where I was down on the street and I shoot straight up into the sky as you're seeing the skyscrapers go by. Something like that will take 2 to 3 seconds to happen before you can get to the part of where your name is, up in the sky, and then you want the letters to rotate into place. Something like that's going to take like 10 seconds. So. But
right.
Yeah, the absolute best is, a 5-second logo sting. 7 seconds is kind of the norm. 10 seconds is kind of pushing it.
You're taking too much time out of your video.
Yeah, and it's not so bad for the first view. So let's say you buy one from me today and it's 10 seconds long, and somebody goes, "Oh, that's a cool intro. I'm liking this. I'm liking your footage. I'm liking everything about this. That's cool." And then a week later, you go out and you film something else and you throw that same intro on there. They go, "Oh, I've kind of seen this already." So there's a risk of them fast forwarding through the video. They like what you do, okay?
Right.
But there's a risk that they will fast forward through your video. And then generally speaking, most people put the absolute best thing at the beginning of their video as far as the content goes. So there's a risk of them missing the best part of your video. So you really don't want to go past 10 seconds.
Okay. So Robert, why would you pay that much, Robert?
Sorry, Val. I was talking to my wife here a second there.
The wife is telling him no. The wife's telling him no, he would not pay that much.
Yeah, she says, "Go right ahead, whatever you need." I would like something done well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I was to pay, like he was talking about Fiverr earlier, you're going to get a guy in India putting your name in an already made 3D setting. And he is actually thinking about it. He is asking for your input. He is asking for what your channel's about, what you do. Yeah, I would pay $300 for that. I would definitely pay $300 for that.
Yeah, we go look at, we look, I have people that say, "Hey, I'm in real estate and I saw your stuff and it's just too over the top. Can you do something?" But I want to do something with you. And I go, "Well, if I put the stuff that was kind of subdued in background," I go, "you wouldn't be talking to me in the first place." So when on my demo reels on my channel, And by the way, you guys go check out my channel. There's a lot of different demo reels. I played a portion of one of them. There's like 7 of them over there. There's a lot of classy type stuff that we can do for real estate guys. Just the classic black background with the chrome letters and a little depth of field where the letters rotate into place and everything. Stuff like that, you know, is easy to do, and is what a lot of real estate folks kind of want. But whereas you got a guy that's doing FPV and he's doing real pumped music and stuff like that, that's the stuff that I played for you earlier. That's the stuff those kind of guys would want.
Right.
You know, the Rotor Riot kind of guys. So it just depends. But yeah, it's a matter of sitting down and looking at what he's putting out. You know, is he doing some nice soft mellow music in his previous videos? You know, is he flying through the mountains or something? You know, and do I need to create a serene little, you know, sunset as the there's a video I made for a guy that in Hawaii, and he films sunsets in Hawaii with his drone. He flies over the trees and through this little stuff, and that's every video that he does is he catches the sunset. So I made an intro for him where the drone, I call it the Michael Bay video, but it's the shot where the drone is kind of coming towards you through the sunset, and he loved that. He thought that was great. It's a matter of sitting down and looking at somebody's channel and seeing what they're doing and making something that fits with what they want to do. And, you know, most people, when they contact me, they go, I really don't know what I want. I want something, but I want something cool. So it's a matter of getting to know the person, which adds to the amount of time that it takes to do this. So yeah, watching the channel, talking to the person, finding out what they like, finding out what they've done so far, because some people will have already made a logo. Finding out if they how far along they've gone. Do they have a vector image of a current logo? And what we want to do is just expand upon that. You know, it's.
So can you do me a favor, Curtis? Can you
Yes, sir.
could you say hi in the chat and maybe put a link to your channel again? People are asking for it.
I put one up a little while ago.
Question. These are kind of the answers we were getting. So I want you to know that. Drone Jerry said, what is the long-term goal? If you think small, you stay small. Branding's everything.
Yeah.
And let's see, Thomas O'Sullivan, he said, let me do it this way. He said, I would pay it to stand out. Plus it's very professional looking. I think it's a good price for one payment, and you have it forever. And Hadley's saying the norm is $250 to $500.
Yeah.
And then, I must be somewhere else because Furball's saying something about something being soggy, so I'm just going to move past that. And it said, can you get the animation and then put different music background depending on what your content for the day is?
So one of the things, for some people I've done this, there's actually 2 parts to Logo Sing. There's the actual graphics of it, and then there's the music or the sound effects, what I call the whoosh and the booms and the Brahms and all the sound effects that kind of go along with these things. The sound effects are not a problem. I've got synthesizers over here and guitars, and I can kind of create all that stuff. And a lot of time what I suggest to people is if they have a particular song they want to use, then they need to purchase the rights to use that song and send that to me, and then I will animate it. Under current copyright rules, I can't purchase a song and transfer the ownership or the rights to use that song to you. And I ran into this problem in the very beginning, because what I said was $300 and I'd cover the whole thing, and I was fine with that. And I'd go find some music for somebody and say, hey, what do you think of this song? What do you think of this song? They would pick one. I would buy the rights to it and then send it to them. And I thought that was okay. But what is actually happening is you're not allowed to transfer the rights to use that song to another artist or another person.
They would have to purchase that.
They have to purchase it also. I have no control over that. But what I've started kind of doing and kind of playing around with is actually kind of creating because I have my own recording studio, but it adds to the amount of time it takes to put something out that's custom. I can actually record my own music and stuff. But then again, now you're looking at 2 weeks, you know, finding a theme of music and style that they like and recreating something in that style. You know, somebody says, oh, I like Def Leppard, so I got to create something that's not Def Leppard but sounds like Def Leppard.
Sounds like it, yeah. And
then that adds to the amount of time that it takes to do. So I can do that, but I'm kind of shying away from it. Now, sound effects, those are inside synthesizers. You just turn mod wheels and stuff, and you create your own sound effects, and that's you can get that in there. So the whoosh and the booms and the
So I'm drumming you up business, Curtis. 616 says I've been looking around for Intergraphic, and Curtis, I'm interested in your work. Now 616 is also an IT guy, and he's really smart. He does great printing, 3D printing.
Mhm.
Do you have 616?
I see him over there. Yes.
Okay, so you're going to want to make sure you guys can get into contact
Mhm.
because I think that's interesting. Here's my fear. I'll just put it out there. I have
Go ahead.
now and again. My fear is that it'd be like, oh wow, bang bang boom boom, here we are, Val's live, and then there I am. Howdy. I just don't know if the two things would go together.
That's what I was talking about earlier about the people that do flat graphics are saying that what I do is over the top. So for my show, Drone Owners Network Live, we tailored the graphics to fit our personalities, and
Okay.
I think they work really well together. For you, if we were doing something, I mean, I would take you have a laid back, I don't want to say mom approach, but you have this, you have the nice pictures in the background behind you. You have the nice wall behind you. I would try to figure something out along those lines. I wouldn't do all the whooshes and the, stuff flying, Star Wars flying around for something like you.
That would be, when I did fiber, I asked for logos. He said, what do you want? I said, well, I enjoy flying drones.
Mhm.
And I interview people who drone flyers, but I also interview other people. My dogs are a big part of my life. People always see them in here, their little tails. And I just kind of gave her that background. And what she gave me was a picture of a drone.
That's it. For you, I think you need something cute.
Yeah, it wasn't cute. It just it wasn't the worst thing in the world or anything is cute. It's
I think what we should have for you would be so if you were to look at your overall size of your screen
for most.
as a 16 by 9 aspect ratio, I would take the center of the screen and at about maybe 100 pixels in size, in height, I'd create a little drone, whichever drone you fly. And I've got several different 3D drones. So I don't know. What do you fly?
I fly a Breeze.
Oh, I don't have a Breeze. I'd have to make one. So
You know
that's
how that works?
Most people don't. Oh,
well.
Wow.
So what I would do is I'd have here's an idea for you, Val. I would have the Breeze fly from left to right across the screen with little hearts or little sparklies kind of falling behind it. It would loop back around. As it looped back around, it would reveal behind it the 3D letters of your name that would rotate into place. Val's life.
Wow.
So it'd be like, and then
Put my dogs in it.
huh?
Would you put my dogs in it?
Why would you put? Okay, we're on to Star Wars customers now. Why would you put dogs in a drone video?
The funny thing is, I do mostly drone interviews, but I also cook on my stream to keto and stuff. So that's why I need to niche my channel down to more to be able to do something that I could say, oh yeah, that's right. Because I like your idea on that. I do like your idea on that. That's much better than than having saber fights and stuff when that's not my deal. Right?
Right.
Sometimes it's hard to define your persona. Mostly it's how other people see you more than how you see yourself. Ari, that is so darn true. That is so darn true. And sometimes you need someone to say, that's not what we're seeing, Val. The dog's up waving. Yeah, I know. Confused with, 616, not to be confused with 269. Oh my God. So Kim has been talking to Miss Ride or Die on his tutu video. I'm going to put this in really quick. Yes, I just saved it because Kim said he might get rid of it. So I did download it. So if he tries to get rid of it, it is not gone forever, folks. It is not. I play that sometimes just when I'm bored. I want to see something on. So anyway, he has a nice tutu video. And if you did one for him, I think adding that to Kim's logo would be great. I'm just saying, Kim. Yeah, he's going to go and never come back. So,
I don't know why my phone's ringing. I thought I had it turned off. Sorry about that.
You're fine. Oh, look, Miss Ride or Die just has eyeballs.
So I'm getting a call from Alberta.
There, see, right with mine. She has her own drone. Yeah, Roxy has her own drone about not happening. Oh well. So I was gonna say, I so appreciate you being on here. We got a little more time. Curtis, you got a little more time to stick with us.
I got nothing else to do tonight, so yeah.
Okay.
My show, the Drone Owners Network Live, we took a break this week. Terrible to be in demand. 2 years ago, it was insane. I was doing 3 to 4 a weekend. I don't generally do these through the week. I mean, I think about, what the customer wants and stuff, and I come up with the ideas and stuff through the week. But when I sit down in front of the computer to actually do them, it's generally the weekend. So yeah, there was a time period when I was doing 3 or 4 a weekend, and that was driving me nuts because I couldn't go fly. So yeah, I kind of back it down a little bit now and look for customers that want to do something interesting. I have turned a few customers down. It's not my living. It's not what I have to do or anything like that. But the people that want, I call them the Star Wars customers, where they want everything in Star Wars to happen in 5 seconds in their logo. I go, thank you, but I'm just going to have to pass on that.
Yeah, I think I just have something that goes up, says Val's Life, like right after a few seconds of me being on when I'm doing my other videos, and then it's just done. I mean, they're saying you shouldn't do long intros, and I know some guys do the longer intros, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they do, I've seen that. The only problem I see with doing too long intros, so I think you're right, is that people will go, oh, I just watched a commercial. Now I'm going to watch this.
Yeah,
I think the shorter the better. Usually,
it is. That's what we were saying earlier. 5-second logo sting is really all you need, and the risk that you run into, the content that you're in your video is the most important part. So you want to put, and you put your best content usually at the front of your video to gather people's interest. And the logo sting, if it runs too long and they've seen your logo sting 3 or 4 times from 3 or 4 previous videos, then you risk them fast forwarding through the logo sting because they still like it, but they've already seen it. You risk them passing up the best part of your video.
Right.
Because as you try to click forward on YouTube and stuff, or Vimeo or anybody else, if you click forward, you don't know exactly how far you're clicking forward in. You might miss 1 or 2 cuts from the beginning of your video. So you do want it to be short. I recommend 5 to 7 seconds, not more than that.
Yeah.
At the same time, the customer is always right. I'll give them the best advice that I have, but at the end of the day, what they want is what I'm going to make.
So how important is an outro, do you think?
I think an outro should be what I call a splash screen, and the splash screen should be nothing more than just a photoshopped 16:9 aspect ratio of any contact information that you want to leave on the video. So in other words, Val's Life, your address, your phone number, whatever contact information you want. Because here's what happens, you play this awesome 3D intro and people go, oh, wow, this looks cool. Oh, wow, we're into our content. Oh, wow, this is amazing. Look at that. He flew through that. Oh, wow, I need to get hold of this person. And they're at the end of the video. And at the end of the video, it gives them all the information they need. So that splash screen, no animation, nothing fancy, black background, white, simple text is what you need right there. It's very important.
I'm going to tell you, I do it exactly opposite, but I understand, only because by the end of the screen, I don't want to give them contact information. I'm just saying, hey, hit that like and subscribe.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying, hey, call my house. I mean, that's in my about page, and that's where I put that. But you're saying that you really need to put it on your video.
Well, let me kind of back up here. The people that I work with mostly are people that want to get hired for a job. So the advice that I'm giving is not necessarily advice that you would use. I'm giving advice for people that are going out and trying to get hired from their work, and they're putting a demonstration of their work online, and they're using that as their calling card, as a business card, basically. Right. So
I see what you're saying. Okay.
So yeah, that's what I recommend for folks that are doing that, not necessarily folks that are just making videos and having a good time. It's for the people that are, and that's because I charge more. It tends to be the people who are earning a living with drones that want to hire me.
Ah, yes. So for me, I expect some point my channel to be a full-time YouTuber. That's what I would like. But I'm not that good yet. So that's not happening tomorrow.
Working with that breeze, huh?
Yeah, well, I'm moving up, but it's going to take a little time to move up. And don't be making fun of my breeze, Curtis.
I'm not. I said you're working with that breeze. That didn't sound like I was making fun of it.
Well, maybe you were, and it's just, yeah, my poor little breeze. You know what? I got it. I was so darn. I'm still excited with it because it does what, you know, it's not a cinematic marvel, but you know, what can you do?
Remote Pilots of Australia, yes, the customer always thinks they are right, and as far as I'm concerned, they are. It's my job to create what they wanted and show it to them, and then once the person says I want this, this, and this, and I can give them advice, but sometimes you just have to make it and show it to them, and they'll go, oh yeah, I don't like that. Let's go back to your idea, Curtis. So and that takes time.
Yes, Fur Bob would like to know, how difficult is animated cartoon?
Very difficult. It's a totally different structure from what I do. So there's stylized artists in that they choose to work in a particular field. Some guys work with flat graphics. Some guys do animation, cartoon animation or cell animation and stuff like that. Cell animation generally is actually 3D, but it's presented as flat graphics, but there is actually 3 dimensions to it. Like Bugs Bunny, Roadrunner, stuff like that. It's they actually animate each frame, and the way they actually do it is they have the animator who creates frame 1, frame 12, frame 26, and then they have other people come in and draw the in between frames. So I would pass on that. The stuff that I do is called hard surface animation. I don't do organic animation. Organic would be like human hands, human body, monsters, Godzilla, that kind of thing. It's the same software, Cinema 4D. It's the same software, but there's more difficulty with animating a person or a monster or a bug or whatever. There's this thing called subsurface scattering. If you hold up your arm and you twist your arm and you look closely, the muscles under your arm move. So if I just animated an arm with no movement underneath it, then it doesn't look real. So you've got to do twice the animation for something like that. Hard surface animation is stuff like spaceships and text and stuff like that, where it's a specific hard thing.
Yes, I see that. So Curtis Stark, the smart customer is an expert in their area and comes to you because your area of expertise. That is true. Render unto Caesar. And all. Not true. I think that's the one thing. I think that certainly you could go out and get effects and go get the suite of Adobe and go ahead and start at it. But by the time I finished, I have the suite, but by the time I finished trying to make myself something, yeah, I think I probably won't be doing YouTube that long. 20 years down the road.
The thing about After Effects, which, After Effects, everything's centered around After Effects. I use Cinema 4D for the 3D stuff, and then there's a plugin called Cineware that is now part of the After Effects family. By the way, in case you didn't know this, if you're purchasing the whole suite of Adobe products, you actually get a light version of Cinema 4D where you can do 3D text. And it's there. You have to open up After Effects and then you open up Cinema 4D. So it's part of After Effects. What I have is the broadcast version of Cinema 4D, which lives outside of After Effects. But there's a plugin called Cineware. So you can create your 3D models, your 3D text, and you can animate it and do whatever you want with it. And then you can import it into After Effects where you can add sparklies or smoke or colors or lights or lens flares and stuff like that. I'm real big on lens flares. I love lens flares. And then you render the whole thing out of Media Encoder.
Yeah. Green Patches said he used to do art and design training and was an animator for many years.
Juno said, is it $20 a month? No, that's for I think the $20 one is for Photoshop and Lightroom, something like that. I do the full suite, which is $59. So I get everything that they have. I don't use all the stuff they have. Sometimes I will start with Illustrator in laying out the text that the customer wants, and I will import that Illustrator file into Cinema 4D and start that way. Only because you're able to manipulate. You may say, I want this particular font, but can you make the I in the font do a swoop down or something? So in Illustrator, I'm able to adjust that and create around that. So you start off with all the Bezier curves that are in that, and then you import that into Cinema 4D, and I'm just geeking out on you guys and losing everybody. I'm sorry.
All right. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're fine. You're fine.
Okay.
It depends on exactly which one you go after. I don't use a lot of the stuff I have. So, I have to go back and rethink how I'm doing everything, I think is what's going to happen. Oh, I like this bit. Oh, Geek Away, very interesting.
Drone Shot says Blender. Yes, Blender's there's a learning curve with Blender, but the thing is Blender is free and it's very, very, very powerful. If you can get past that learning curve with it, it's an awesome piece of 3D, and you can do some great stuff with Blender. I have Blender myself. When I was coming up in the 3D world, Cinema 4D was what everybody was talking about, and the way that it integrated with After Effects, which I was really well versed in, and it just seemed like that was the way I wanted to go. But Blender it's on both my computers, which, by the way, I run 2 computers in case anybody wanted to know. But yeah, no, Blender's really, really cool. I just wish it would integrate better with After Effects, because After Effects is what you use to put all the smoke and the lens flares and the color correction on it and really define the image. And the fact that you can render, your Cinema 4D files and your After Effects files out with Media Encoder, which also ships as an Adobe product, is really, really cool. Media Encoder will use all the resources on your computer to render faster. If you're trying to render out of After Effects, it's, you're using part of your GPU. So yeah, GPU. No,
so
CPU. Okay.
Saying, have you ever had someone come to you for a logo splash and then realize that their logo isn't all that great or suited for them, so you end up changing it all?
Yes, happens all the time.
Yeah.
And usually it happens in the early part of it. Somebody's gone to Fiverr and they bought an Illustrator file, and they thought, I'm just going to put a lot of people didn't even know about 3D graphics, and they just want to put a splash screen at the front, kind of like Casey Neistat does, where he just puts his name across there, an episode of whatever. But as they kind of start playing around and looking around, they'll find somebody on YouTube with a 3D logo, and they're like, hey, how did he do that? How do I get something like that? So that's when they come to me and they say, hey, I've got this. And then we start talking about what they do, and we find out, oh, that logo really doesn't kind of fit with you. So yeah, we have to adjust things all the time. Everything I do is custom. I say that, I mean, if you actually have a template you want me to, and you don't know how to use After Effects and you want me to render out a template, I'll do that for you too. I won't charge you $300 for it, but little money here and there is not bad at all. But for most of everything that I do, everything is custom, and we sit down and we look at exactly what you want and what you do and where you're going with this and what I think you should do and what you would like to do. And we have a whole conversation. So.
Oh, so he's saying, do your customers need a decent logo before they talk to you?
No. I work with you. So essentially a logo sting is your name. So whatever the name of your channel is, or whatever you're calling yourself, and if it's just, if it's just Curtis or it's just Val or whatever, and the shorter the better, by the way. If the name of your, I shouldn't say this because this is one of my bones of contention with my show, is it's so long. But if the name of your company is Billy Bob's Whirling Blades of Death and Barbecue Starter, Real Estate Photography, Drone Flights Photography, and it's like 50 words long, it's hard for people to remember. But if you do something like Val's Life, it's easy to do. It's easy to remember that. So the first key thing to naming your channel or naming who you are is making it short and sweet. If you look at the professionals, you look at Google, you look at Ford, you look at Dell, it's not necessarily, it doesn't say Ford cars, it says Ford. So the cars are what make the name, and that's why you associate it with it. It's not the name is associated with the cars. It's not Dell is associated with computers. It's computers are associated with the name Dell. So you don't have to say Ariel in your name or anything like that. It could be, you know, whatever. For the longest time, I just used Wingman, and people were like, are you one of those flying guys or whatever? But as soon as they see your footage, they're going to know what you are. You don't have to say Ariel in your footage. That's the biggest mistake I think most people make is they come online and they go, it's Bob's Aerial Videos, and you don't need to say Aerial Videos. It's just, you could say Bob's, you know, or Bob or whatever, because as soon as they play that first frame, they're going to go, oh, this is an aerial video. People are not stupid. So there is that. Short is better. So no, they don't need to start with their own logo. They can come, we can sit down and talk. It's generally speaking, you know, your name in an interesting font, interesting text, and it's a reveal of your name. A lot of people will want what's called a bug, which is a, you know, like a bug would be like the swoosh in Nike, that little swoosh thing, that's called a bug. Some people will want something like that, or they will want a little drone that flies in, you know, like we were talking about for Val here, where it would kind of fly in and help reveal her name. And that can be, you know, added in there. The other side of this thing is when people, the downside of this is when people come in and they go, okay, let's do this thing, and I'm excited, and $300 is fine, and I make something for them. I drop it. No, anyway, I make something for them. They really don't understand that this is not a vector graphic. It's not something that you put on a, you know, on a business card or something like that. This is something that is above that. It's a unique thing for you. It's not, I mean, I can give you what I call a final shot of the final frame, and you can use that for, you know, your Facebook page or your YouTube page or whatever. Or you could put it on your business cards, but generally speaking, that's not something that you would use that for.
So Mike Roach wants to know if I should keep the apostrophe in my name.
Why wouldn't you?
I don't know. He loves to know, so I asked.
Should Val?
Because Val's, well, it's, you know, okay, Curtis Art. So you're telling me Remote Pilots Australia is wordy.
You are wordy.
Yes, you are.
Well, so when I named my show, I named it Drone Owners Network Live. It's wordy. It's an easy thing to do, and I'm, you know, I didn't even follow my own advice. What can I say?
I think it's okay. I think you have to find what you're comfortable with. I had Val's Life Health Journey. That was mine, and I was like, you know, it's not just about that. I do all this other stuff. So it's my life. It's Val's life. So when I'm going out and doing other things, I'll be putting that up. When I cook, I put keto videos up. I put that lawnmower video up, and I have 10,000 views on that thing. I have my lawnmower video, you know, and I do interviews. So I think just keep it, Remote Pilot. You're fine. You're fine. We have Mike Roach Studios. That's a good name.
Let me back up. I need to reread Drone Adjust Jerry's here. He says, have you ever had someone come to you for a logo splash and then realize their logo isn't that great or suited for them? Are you talking about Jerry, are you talking about what I make for them, or what they had previous to them coming to me? I think that you need to kind of define that question a little bit more. So you end up changing it all.
Yeah.
I thought he was saying that I made it and then they didn't like it and I needed to change it. And yes, I will change it. I mean, if it's something that's going to make the customer happy, yeah, I'm going to change it. But now I'm kind of reading it saying maybe that's before they come to me. I think he needs to reword that question, and I'll be happy to answer that.
So let me ask you, if it's before they come, would you tell them, hey, or they come to you and say, hey, this is what I did? Would you tell them, well, this doesn't seem as well suited? Or we just go, wow, that's some work there.
So somebody has, what you're saying is somebody has some sort of logo sting that they're using, and they come to me and say, here's my logo sting.
Yeah, what do you think of this?
Well, generally speaking, they're not happy with what they have to begin with. Otherwise, they're not coming to me. So they're ready for critique. I think they're ready for critique already.
Right, but I will tell you, there are times when people have things and they come to you and they ask, because they want that reinforcement of what they did was perfect and it was great. Hey, Big J. And if it isn't, do you tell them?
Well, again, when somebody comes to me and we're talking about a logo sting, they're not happy with their logo sting. You don't go to a car dealership unless you're not happy with your car and you're thinking, hey, I need to get a new car. You don't just walk in and go, hey, what do you think of my car? The thought process is already going on. So I'm not offending somebody when I say something about their logo sting or something like that. We talk about what they have and what they would like. It's not me telling them, oh, you got a piece of crap. It's me talking to them about what would you like me to do?
Yeah, because I've had interview channels come to me and say, hey, I interview. I do pretty good too. You want to take a look? And I'll go and maybe it's not what I think is great, and they'll ask me. And then
right. No, the people that come to me and ask me about their particular logo sting, they are not happy with what they have. If they're happy, they're not going to come to me. Fly safe and scare Roger, mate.
It will delete your watch time hours. If you change your channel name, will it? No, it will not delete your watch time hours.
Talk to you later, Remote Pilots Australia. Have a good day. Have a good day. Good day.
Bye, Remote Pilot. No, if you change your channel name, it'll just be a new channel name. But here's the deal. They only allow you so many changes in, what is it, a 90-day period or 6-month period, something like that. So if you change your name, be prepared to hang with the new name. The good troll did it. He changed over and I said, oh, I somehow, he ended up putting the good troll instead of Baduga, and he was stuck with it for a time.
Paul asked a good question. Are first time buyers easier to work with?
Yeah.
Everybody is unique. I don't think first time, a first time person who wants something, who's kind of come into this world and they're making videos and they go, oh, I want a nice intro to my videos, and they find me. I don't advertise, other than I've come on Val's show, and this is probably the most I've ever talked about what I do. It varies on personality as to whether they're easy to work with or not. And I can kind of get a feel for a person when I talk to them on the phone or talking to them over Facebook or something like that as to whether they're going to be easy to work with. I have told a few folks, I'm sorry, I'm just really not interested in working with you. You're talking to them and they're like wanting something incredible, or they have an expectation of what you're supposed to do, or it's somebody wanting the cartoon thing or something like that. I mean, I have a very specific set of things that I do that I've focused on, and this is my specialty in my area. I can do flat graphics, but I'm not excited about flat graphics. A lot of what I do is called simulation. I don't actually animate. I do simulations and use expressions and stuff like that. So there's no real keyframes in what I do, if anybody's familiar with that stuff.
It's nice. So someone said, okay, first of all, Robert, your name is not Val's Life. And UFO, if you change it to UFO Tim, I think it'd be easier for me to be able to say that.
Why is Paul not on here? Paul, jump on here.
I sent him 2 links, but he's just not coming.
Paul, you got to come on here, buddy. I love talking to Paul.
I know, Paul's great. I sent him 2 links. I sent Robert 1 link. Robert comes on. I sent Paul 2, nothing. Where's the love, Paul?
Where is the love, Paul? Come on. Jump on here. We're having a conversation. We want you to be part of the conversation.
Have you ever identified something in their logo is a copyright image they didn't pay for?
Okay, so well, let's take that as an example. Nike, somebody sends me the Nike logo, says this is my logo. I'm gonna laugh. Thanks. No, I'm probably won't mess with it. But at the same time, I'm not responsible for it. You are the person that hires me. I just set up my account to watch YouTube, hence just my name, but being in drone community, and I am making videos soon. Should I change my name? If I do, would I lose my identity? What is your name? Are you using just Thomas O'Sullivan? or is it Tomas?
Tomas. Arto for short.
Yeah. So back to the copyright thing. It's not my responsibility as a animator to go through and find out if, I mean, the astronomical search that would have to happen if there is a, what we call the bug, which would generally be the thing that is copyrighted, the swoosh in the Nike thing. It's not my responsibility to go find that. Now, of course, if it's like very, very clear, I'm going to bring it up and go, hey, you know, this is the swoosh from Nike. We got to change that or you're going to get in trouble. I won't get in trouble for doing anything because I'm not putting it out there. I would animate it and make it for you, but you're the one putting it out there. So I can advise you on it, but that's about it.
So if I send something to Fiverr and I say, make me logo, they make me a logo.
Mhm.
They did it. I put it up. Can I assume it's not copyrighted?
No.
It could be copyrighted.
So let me back up and ask you, are you familiar with Video Hive? It's a website. Okay. You might want to take a note and write this one down. Videohive.com. What a lot of Fiverr guys are doing, and you'll notice when you go on Fiverr or on Video Hive and you go on there, type in drone logo sting. Paul's here. I'm excited.
Time. Videohive.com.
Videohive.com, and in the search bar at the top, type in drone logo sting, and then go and then see what's available, and then go over to Fiverr, and you'll see those exact same logo stings that they are selling you are on Fiverr. So according to the rules of Video Hive, just like music, you can only use it once. So when you purchase a right to use that template, with the drone flying through, you're only allowed to use that once. Every time you use it, you need to purchase it again. So how these guys on Fiverr are doing it is, it's somebody overseas that it's a kid that just doesn't care. And he's charging $5 and that's all there is to it.
Oh, wow.
So, and that kid's not really responsible, but due diligence here, do your research. This is a great topic for another show for you. Go over to videohive.com, type in drone logo stings, see what's available, and then go over to Fiverr and you'll see a lot of people are selling that logo sting. They'll say, I'll just put your name in here. And they're not allowed to do that. So how they're getting away with it, beyond me, but it's not something I'm concerned about because I make original logo stings.
I'm looking at this. I may be in the right. It's called Video Hive.
Videohive.com. By the way, Paul, you and I have a connection. I don't think you realize it. If you go to my channel, I'm down in the Port of Tacoma a lot of times. So like you, I'm flying around ships all the time.
Ah, yeah, no, I realize that. We're kind of ship flyers together.
Exactly.
Hey, Roger.
I'm kind of lucky in the fact that I work down at the Port of Tacoma, so I kind of know all the folks down there, and I get a little bit better access and everything. But yeah, some of the night photos and stuff I do are pretty cool with that new M210. But when I saw your channel, I was like, oh yeah, fellow ship guy. He gets off on the ships and stuff. So
yeah, well, I'm lucky enough. I don't know if you've ever seen my location is. I only live a mile away from where I shoot my videos, so I can track the ships, and I'm retired, so I can shoot over there and go get them and come back.
That's awesome. Yeah, there are a lot of times I'm just I'll take my lunch break. It was last year they built a brand new ferry. So if you're familiar with the Seattle area at all, the ferry system up here is actually an extension of our freeway system, and it's financed by the freeways up here from the national government. So when they need a new ferry, what they do is they have two different boat builders build it. And one of them is builds the top deck, and one of them builds the bottom deck. And then they take them both out to the water out in the bay, and they actually roll them onto each other from barges. And it's something to see. So there's a couple of my videos on there where they're doing that. Unfortunately, it's a slow process. But it's really interesting to see, a ferry boat being put together out there in the bay. That was pretty cool. So yeah, you can search my channel. You can see that out there.
Yeah. Yeah. It was someday though, Curtis, drones will fly for hours and you won't have that problem. You can just put it up there.
Well, I was doing it as a live video too. So it was my lunch break at work, and I just went up in the air and was kind of narrating it. And and with Facebook Live and your drone, you can actually have people ask you questions and stuff. And what the heck are you doing, Kurt? Why aren't you working? It's Wednesday at noon. I go, hey, I get a lunch break. Come on.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm not quite retired. I'm going to be 58 this year, so my microphone falling
I'm
down.
going to be 67 next month.
I'm getting there.
Yeah. And you know what I find, Curtis? The older I get, the less patience I have, and the less I want to get that involved in too much of anything.
Flying my drone, I was kind of glad that we decided early on that after a certain period of time we were going to put a break on the show, just a natural stop point, and not really. I mean, we did a little bit of work on the show this weekend, but we didn't do a live show this weekend. We wanted a chance to kind of back off of it and just go fly and stuff. And I got together with some old friends, and we went out into a field and just kind of flew around and stuff. And that's good for the heart, good for the soul, good for the mind.
Sure. Well, it's hard to convey to those people that don't fly or experience it, that they a whole lifetime they're running along on the ground, and their perspective is running along on the ground.
Yeah.
They don't have any idea about depth perception and anything like what we have to go through and what we have to learn.
Mm-hmm.
And every time I fly, Curtis, I end up doing a mini seminar out of the back of my Tahoe. People want to know, gee, what is it? I let them lift it. I let them look at it. I let them teach them and understand. And I also carry a business card with how to go to my link and see my stuff and everything else. And I get them because we're an international border crossing, like the third largest border crossing between Canada and the United States. There's all kinds of people, travelers from all over that pull over and go down there along the water. And so I've got people now that email me from all over the world, and I'm just kind of amazed at that.
Okay, so we need to answer Thomas's question because he's asked it kind of twice.
Thomas says, I'm known in the drone community as Thomas O'Sullivan, but if I change my name to drone related name, then I start to upload videos, I might lose my identity, if you know what I mean. I think you're putting a little bit too much emphasis on worrying about something different. Tomas O'Sullivan is a great name. It has character. I would keep it. You don't need to say Thomas O'Sullivan's aerial drone work or anything like that. The minute your video starts, they're going to know that you're a drone pilot. I would keep Thomas O'Sullivan. It's Tomas O'Sullivan. I'm sorry about that. I would keep that and just make an interesting reveal of your name and get right into your video. Your video is what's important, I don't think you need to change your name.
No, we all know you as Tomas.
Yeah.
Okay. So the title that Posa did on Paul Murray's book, The Spectacular Stupendous, what was the rest of that? It was like really long, but you got a crock pot if you bought it.
I don't know, Curtis, I don't know if you've seen that or not, but Andrew and I like to banter back and forth a little bit.
I have seen that.
We were bantering one day, and while we were bantering back and forth, he created that book thing, and it just cracked me up.
So, Paul, I want to show you. We always talking about promoting each other. I showed everybody else this earlier, but I don't think you were on. So I wanted to show you how well I support other live artists here and doing the live thing. So let me share my screen for just a second here and grab this. And this was last week.
We're asking for a little bit of help too. If you have some friends you think could raise later, we got married. I'm just saying.
Yeah, Phil's a wild man.
So I was commenting on both. I have two computers here, And I had both. I was like, well, which one do I watch? Which one do I watch? So I just put them both on. I was commenting on both videos. I was liking both videos. And I was like supporting my guys, you know.
Yep. Yeah. I've got 3 computers right here too. So I kind of can do the same.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And Paul does. You know, a lot of the guys do it. I have one sitting here. So if I'm watching, this is what I'm watching.
Tomas, you're welcome. Not a problem.
Yeah.
Curtis, what do you think of Philly Michael?
I've watched so his latest video was really, really cool. So let me start this with a caveat here. Is what he doing 100% legal? Is that what you're asking me? Or do I enjoy his show?
No, you enjoy his enthusiasm. And
I love his show. He's a great guy. He's so enthusiastic. He seems like he's on the edge all the time. Just not I don't want to say edge of losing it, but he's just on the edge of like excitement. And it's like he's very, 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 very animated, very fun. His latest video I watched today where he's flying down the street, a little concerned about flying over cars. Yeah. I'm not the drone police. I don't, but at the same time, I'm like, you're a representative of us and you're doing this live. So, he was talking about flying, next to the buildings, and yes, he's 100% correct. You can fly higher because you're next to, 400 feet of a building. So that gives you an additional 400 feet to go up. He was correct about that in the video. That was the only thing it's like, okay, dude, you kind of are flying over cars and stuff, but even that is about to change in the FAA rules. So if you're kind of following along with the FAA rules, it looks like they're going to let us fly over people that are not large crowds. So in other words, concerts. They don't want us flying over concerts with 5 or 6 people, and I'm not sure what the number is actually going to be, but it's looking like it's going to be a few people under you. You're going to be okay. Yeah. It's all about mitigating the risk. I don't necessarily understand why, and particularly at his height, where it's really a risk situation for cars that are moving. When you're in a city like that, you're not looking up that high up in the sky where he was. So I think he's okay. What he's doing is defined by the FAA is not necessarily okay, but personally, I don't think he was a risk to any car that was up there. And if he did hit something and fall to the street, he's falling onto a car. Well, there's a little bit of damage to the vehicle, sure. But nobody's really going to get hurt. Let's just be honest. It's a little plastic toy. So it's all kind of a give and take thing. Whereas like I have the 509 bridge out here, and it's a beautiful bridge to film, but I need to stay over the bridge because people can look up into the air. The bridge has an arch to it. So when you're coming up on the bridge, your car is naturally looking up into the air, and it's very easy to see a drone up there and get distracted. So I don't fly over the bridge. If I'm going to film that particular bridge, I fly to the side of it.
Curtis, don't you think that the FAA is still trying to find their way through the maze? Because it's like I've heard some FAA people say that, well, we originally were defining if a person would put their arms out, that's their airspace and that you can't fly directly over them. And then another FAA person said that, well, as long as people are inside a structure or in a vehicle, you can fly over because they're protected. And so I don't get the yin and the yang, but I'm sure it'll sort itself out.
It will, and it should. I would agree with the statement that the FAA is finding their way. The thing that a lot of drone pilots don't understand, and this kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier, where everybody thinks about themselves first, and that is a natural human condition. But when you start looking at the overall picture says there are more drones than just the little, the little Mavics and Sparks and little drones that we have. There are a lot bigger things out there. So the FAA is having to take that into consideration. The problem that when you do it that way is you need to be more specific per drone, and whether it's weight or class or something like that. We do this with cars and trucks and bicycles and motorcycles. It's a different license. Right. So they need to start, I think they need to start looking at making rules specifically for that particular style or a particular weight of drone, not trying to lump them all in together. But yeah, they're trying to catch up, no doubt about it.
No difference between that and a plane flying over. People are going to look. Hey, Ed, how you doing, my darling? Yeah, didn't Philly get investigated by FAA and they cleared him?
Yes.
Said what he's doing is okay. So that's the one thing. I think that it's.
I'm not. So I let me caveat this whole thing. I'm not upset with anything that he's doing. I'm just looking at it, going, "Oh, wow."
Right? And I think it depends on what's anymore, what city you're in, what their rules are. Because in New York, you can't do what Philly's doing.
Yeah, when you talk to the boys in New York, they can't do anything.
Right. So Seattle is the same way. Seattle does not want drones taken off from, and we all know the rules. You can fly wherever. The FAA governs the airspace here in the United States, but where you take off from is a different story. And Seattle's locked it down. On the other hand, Tacoma is pretty much wide open. And if you've ever been in Seattle on the weekends, it is a tourist town. So it is very, very busy not the whole city, the core of the city, Pike's Place Market and up where the malls are and stuff. But unlike them, Tacoma is somewhat dead. So to go down into the tide flats and down where the ships are, there's nobody down there, and you're just flying around having a good time.
Yeah, exactly. Now, and it was it last year, Curtis, that some knucklehead ran a drone into some of the workers on the top of the Space Needle?
He didn't actually hit the worker, and the guy was arrested, by the way. And I don't know. I think the end outcome was they just took his drone away from him. But yeah, he didn't have his return to home set correctly. So when he got onto the other side of the Space Needle and lost connectivity, the drone said, "Okay, I'm going to return to home." Space Needle 636 feet, I believe. Don't quote me on this, folks, but it's higher than 400 feet. I can tell you that. He didn't have his return to home set correctly. So when he lost connectivity, it says, well, I got to go home. And the fastest way to go home was straight through the top of the needle, where it crashed into the top of the needle.
Yeah. And that's important for anybody flying to always check those. And what I have found, Curtis, maybe you have too, every time I do an update, I got to go back and check those because it'll reset some of that stuff. Exactly.
Yeah. Curtis uses his brain and flies safe. Well, thank you, Furball Kim. Trying to catch up on the conversations there.
Yeah, me too. And people are really leaving some good comments. So I'm trying to see what I think it's Tom Haas, right?
I think it's Tomas. I could be wrong.
Tomas. He said it's like sauce without the S.
Okay.
Tomas. I'm never going to remember that, Thomas. I try.
Tomas.
We'll just call you Mr. T.
Mr. T. O'Sullivan is in the house.
Mr. O'Sullivan.
I don't care what anybody says. That is a very classy name.
Oh yes.
Very, very classy name. I would use that. If that was my name, I would immediately use it.
I would too.
As my logo.
Hey, Robert, I think you're doing a great job of filling Roger's shoes tonight.
Robert,
thank you, Paul.
He asked me if I would just have someone come in and mod. And I got to tell you, it's always a help, because if I miss something in the chat, he puts it in our private chat so I can pick it up. So it's really nice, instead of someone from the chat going, Valerie, do you think you could not squirrel this out so far? Give back. Robert can.
Well, thank you, Val. Thank you very much.
I appreciate it. So, Thomas said, I've been called a lot worse. Oh my God. So it's this, you are so interesting. This went on a little bit long, guys. I so appreciate it. We're just going to go to general chat, if that's all right with you, unless there's something else you're dying to ask Curtis, and there probably is. And I want to make sure you have a chance, but I also want to remind you can catch him on Saturdays at what time?
3 o'clock Pacific, 6 o'clock Eastern. Yeah, and I'll put a link down here to our show that we're doing. Let me go quickly grab that.
It's only an hour, and we do. If you've been part of our channels, we go a long time, so that will be nice. Hey, Carter, it'll be a change. It'll be a change. You know what? UFO. You could just name yourself UFO Builder. Though I don't know that you're building UFOs. This was an awesome stream, Curtis. Very cool what you do. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Furball. I appreciate that. See,
Yeah.
see, we've connected. I'm down to first names with Furball.
Yeah, you just
Just Kim.
call him Fur. Hey, Fur.
Hey, Fur.
Yeah.
Well, Val calls them different things, but yes.
I call him Sweet Babu, and then I call him a twit. So I got a couple names for him.
So yeah, I've been doing drones for from the very beginning. The very first Phantom came out in 2013 in January, and I bought mine in February. So I regret selling it. Some of my staff still has theirs. We were talking about that the other day, and they all started opening up their drawers and pulling out the in the background there. Oh yeah, let me dig in this drawer, and here comes the old Phantom, the original Phantoms. It's kind of funny. It was called the Phantom, but now we have to label it the Phantom 1 because now there's the Phantom 2, the 3, the 4, but it was never called the Phantom 1. It was just the Phantom.
Phantom,
Yeah, and you had to go buy a separate battery. You weren't buying a DJI specific battery.
And your separate camera.
There was no gimbal. Back in the day, there was some guys on eBay that were cutting out some carbon fiber plates that would mount kind of like a GoPro thing went on the bottom with 4 little rubber balls, and that's how we were getting rid of the jello. And then the GoPro camera would mount underneath that. So when they came out with the Phantom 2 with the H23 Zenmuse, I think Zenmuse or whatever it was called, that was like, okay, DJI is going to be a game changer, and I knew it right then and there. And to look at what they've got today and that they're doing is like, whoa, that's amazing.
As soon as they came out with the gimbal system on the Phantom 3,
yeah,
that was a game changer right there.
Yep.
I started into drones by watching Kim, and he would do all these things with the Phantom. That's why it bothers me that you're not flying more, because he would go all around the property, all around the field. I get to see everything, and it's smooth and it's nice. And I took my Breeze up because I thought maybe it's just all drones do that, and my stuff is all shaky and jerky, and I'm like, what the hell?
So we're talking about my show. I do want to promote next week's show, if you don't mind. We're going to have Eran Steiner, who is from Israel, who has a company called airdata.com. Are you guys familiar with airdata.com?
Yeah, that's the one where you can fly anywhere in the world.
No, that's called Fly There. They're also out of Israel. Airdata. Eran is from Israel, but he lives here in Sacramento, and the company Airdata is here. Airdata is a really cool company in the fact that a few years ago, when DJI was getting a lot of people returning their drones, they essentially created a black box in their drones, and it's called a flight log, and it records everything that happens during your flight. So if you call up DJI and say, hey, my drone's acting up and it's your fault, you can send them the flight log and they'll go, no, it was actually pilot error. Here's what's wrong. The problem is they're not sharing that information. If you ever pull out a flight log and look at it, it's a bunch of ones and zeros. So Eran is a computer programmer who specializes in data, and he put together a little team, a tribe, if you will. And they created this thing where it actually reads the flight log. Now, here's the cool part of what they're doing. There's several cool parts to it. First of all, it's free. So you can use your DJI whatever and upload the flight log, and it will tell you information about your flight and your drone. So let's just say, for instance, you have a bad cell in one of your batteries, but you got back and everything landed and everything was fine. Well, you upload your flight log, it's going to say, hey, you're having a problem in your third cell. There's a deviation. You don't need to use that battery anymore. So that's pretty cool. But what's really awesome about it, let's say Paul goes up with one of his Inspires and he flies today, and he's been religious about uploading his flight logs. He goes up and flies today and he crashes. I'm sorry, Paul, it just happens. And you come back and the flight log is inside your tablet or your phone that you're flying with. So you upload it to figure out, well, what the heck happened? Everything looked good. And you upload it and you find out the third cell in your battery was bad. Well, what they're working towards at Airdata is something called predictive analysis. And by all these people in the world uploading their free, because it's free, they upload their information up there. At some point, they're going to have enough data that they're going to be able to go back and look at everybody else, and they're going to find 2 other people that match exactly what Paul was doing. And the next flight that they do is going to be similar to Paul's. They'll be able to send you an email that says, hey, don't fly because Paul crashed and you have the exact same circumstances on your next flight. So that's right around the corner. They're going to be able to do that. Now, I want to give a couple caveats, and this will be covered in my show next week. I've done all the research on this stuff. They do this thing called 100 free flights that you can upload, or 100 free flights. And some people are kind of confused about that, and we're going to clarify it. But basically what it means is you can upload 100 flights, and when you upload your 101st flight, the first flight falls off. When you upload your 102nd flight, the second flight falls off. So you have 100, always have 100 of your last flights. Now, there is a subscription service you can buy, and you can keep all your flights in there. You can track all your data, over for years and years and years. And it's pretty cheap. It's like $14, and I buy into it. It's a really awesome thing. Some of the other cool things you can do, there's a thing called a KML file. I may be saying that wrong. I might need to go check. But you can download that file directly into Google Earth, and you can now see your flights in 3D on Google Earth.
Wow.
So that's pretty cool. There was one day I was out flying and I lost connectivity with my drone, and I was like, what? And it did return to home. Everything was fine. No problems. I never sweated it, but I was like, what happened there? What's going on? And I went on Google Earth and looked it up and uploaded my flight log, and I followed the 3D thing, and I was like, oh, wow, there's a radio tower right beside me. And I was like 10 feet away from it and didn't realize it. It was behind me. And I was passing by. So it picked up, it just got in the way. The signal was too strong, and it broke the signal was all it was. And it wasn't able to reconnect in time. So it initiated return to home. It went to 400 feet where I have it set, and it came back safely. There was no problem. But by doing that, I was able to go on Google Earth and look around and see what created that issue. So now that I know what the issue is, and it shows it on Google Earth too. It goes right here. It goes, you've lost connectivity with your drone, and return to home it is initiated at this point. And I was right there beside that tower. So I knew that was the issue. In the past, what would happen is we're like nervous about flying our drone the next time because we're like, I don't know what happened. Well, now you're able to find out what happened. You go, oh, I just need to stay away from that tower that's there that I didn't realize was there. It was behind my drone. My camera's facing the other direction. I just didn't see that. So it's very, very useful. And that's a prime example of a way that you can use that. But he's coming.
Does it give you, how on the screen it gives you the little warning signal? It's like
yes.
radio interference or electronic interference and that kind of thing.
Yes, it gives you all of that information. Let me I'm on a different computer than I'm normally on when I use AirData. Let me see if I can get on, and I'll show you.
Bring that up. That'd be cool.
We're all moving closer to our screen.
And we all move. Yeah.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
Okay, let me share my screen, and this is let me get in here and shut that down. I don't know why I have that still. Where are we at? Okay, go over here, share screen, share. Got it. So this is the front page of AirData. This is where you log in. Your flights are up here. Once you create your free account, that's where you go there. And there's some information down here. These are apps that are supported by AirData so that you can upload directly from it. A lot of people like to use Litchi. And Pix4D. You can directly upload from there. I have mine set up because I have the subscription service that when I sync my flights with DJI, I'm able to immediately, or it does it automatically where it's uploaded directly to here. So let's go over here and take a look at my flights. So I have the Pro account, and this kind of talks about general stuff. But let's go over here and look at a particular flight. So this was the other day. So this is I call mine Recon 1. Flight time, 19 minutes, 30 seconds. Total takeoff battery, landing battery. All this information's in here, but you can go into details. Talks about which battery I use. I use battery number 28. Yes, I have a lot of batteries. You can go in here to notifications, and this is what I think Paul was talking about. So here we have your aircraft's entered a warning zone, unpaid airports, modes, tips, home point recorded, all this information that, and it, you know, your battery coming down, max altitude, et cetera, et cetera. Then we can go over documents.
Battery showed up on there too.
Well, that's a subsection. So right now we're in the general tab. From here, we can go over to the power, and this talks about our power here. So you have efficiency, your battery cells, you have your, so see, this one's actually degrading right now. I need to kind of work with that battery, recondition it.
Wow. That is a lot of information.
Yeah.
Your volts and amps. So the red line here is showing that I was pulling a lot of amps right here. But it tells you what you were doing. Was I climbing? Was I doing nothing? You know, and it follows throughout the timeline there. You can go over, you can go over here to your sensors tab, and this will talk about signal errors. A lot of people don't realize how many times they lose signal. And of course, you can zoom in on the map. Let's go back up here.
Man, it's way cool.
Your signal score, it takes the overall signal score and gives you a score in here, lets you know how you did. GPS score.
And that's airdata.com.
Airdata.com. And you've got your compass, and this, no issues there. Your controls, your RC controls, how well they responded. Your rudder map. Had no issue.
You have to link your drone to that, right?
Yes, and I'll go over that here and with you in just a second. This is something they've just added recently. I don't know how useful it is, because it's like you kind of need this information before you fly, but it talks about wind speeds and directions when you're in the air. It talks about KP index, but this is what happens this comes from the flight log that's after you've already flown. I think you need this information before you fly. Yeah. So they deal with everything that's afterwards, but this information's here, and this may change, and this is one of the things that
Curtis, that information would be really helpful, because if you're having an error or whatever, then you can say, okay, well, there was a strong headwind. That might be why the motors are working so hard, or any of those kinds of things.
So that was the next section I was going to show you, Paul, here was, so we were over at the in-flight wind and the KP index. When you go over here to the wind map, it actually shows you the direction of the wind in relation to the way that you were flying.
Wow.
Again, this is post information, or it's post flight. So you'd kind of wish you had this before you went up in the air, but see, it's very, very detailed. And if you run into a problem, like I said, the thing is when for the longest time, people would talk about, they'd come in the group and they go, DJI sucks and they're, it's, and you go, no, dude, let's take a look at what you've done. So a lot of times what I tell guys is, hey, instead of complaining, upload your flight log, share the flight log with us. By the way, the way you share your flight log is this right here. Just click on that, and you can choose how much of this you want to share. You're not sharing passwords or anything like that. And then somebody like myself who is familiar with AirData, I can come in and look at the data and tell you, because you're a new pilot and you may not understand all of this, I can come in and help you out and say, okay, here's actually what happened with your drone. They have one other section that they've just added, and I'm not sure exactly what that would be for. I wanted to go up and capture the moon on this particular evening, and I don't know why it stores. It takes the photos off your phone and adds them to the account. I don't understand why that's there, but it's there.
Now, Curtis, you said by clicking up there that you can upload your data. Can you do that just without having to physically connect it to the computer? Will it do it over the internet, or?
Yes, they have and I can go grab a tutorial on how to do this and share this with you guys, if you'll give me just a second. But there's multiple ways to upload your flight logs to AirData. In fact, you can drag and drop here if you want to. I mean, you'd have to go. It's a little tough with a iPad and the iPhone. The Android devices are really easy to do. You just open up files and drag and drop the files here.
Like with the Crystal Sky, you could do it?
Yes, with Crystal Sky, there's a way to do it. Also, there's a workaround for the Phantom 4 with the little miniature screen You know the one I'm talking about that came with a little miniature screen.
Right.
The new screen that's out for the Mavic, you can utilize that one. You just have to have an internet connection. So you need to pair your controller with your phone, and then you can upload the flight logs that way. They have an app. It's called Healthy Drones. They need to change that name. That was the original name of the company, was Healthy Drones. But as they got bigger and bigger and started creating this stuff, they brought in some more not more professional. They brought in some professional people that realize that data is money, and big companies want data. And full disclosure on this stuff, what they do is they sell this data to companies like NBC and the rail yards, where they can't afford to have a problem with a drone happen.
Right.
So those companies are willing to put out the big bucks to get all this data ahead of time.
Well, wouldn't government agencies want to know that too? In other words,
yes, yeah. I just listed a couple. I mean, there are hundreds of large companies that want this data, and they're willing to pay for this data. So that's how they're getting it. The benefit is the average drone pilot is able to also access this data and utilize it to help them as well.
Well, and also that would constitute for logging your flights.
Yes, there is a way to
part of a 107 pilot.
Right, there is a way to log your flights.
That's an easy way to just I've got my flight plans right here.
But let me go over here and show you guys what I was.
Really cool. I did not know that was available. That is cool.
See if this works and doesn't crash my computer. That's one of the basis for our show is a lot of people are not really aware of what all is out there. And because I've been around for so long doing this, I know so many people that are that are in the industry and creating stuff that we can use. And that's one of the premises, like I said, of our show. We're able to introduce folks to this stuff without that they didn't know about. So why is it not opening? What's happening here? Show in folder. I don't think I have Google Earth on this one. Keep using this app. Okay. Can you guys see this?
I can.
You see Google Earth opening?
I can see Google Earth opening.
No, I don't want it. I don't want the new one.
So it'll show your flight in Google Earth.
Yes.
That's cool.
So here we are where I was flying. Is that cool or what, guys?
That's amazing. That is amazing.
This is my home. This is where I live. This, if you ever come over my house, my backyard looks like a forest. And you would think from my backyard that I was out in the middle of nowhere, but I'm actually right downtown. That's my house right there.
Mm-hmm.
Way down there, kind of hidden.
Hey, Kim. I thought Roger was letting me know it was the one who was bothering Momo. That's why I hit him from the chat. That's the only reason I did.
So let me go over here and see if I've got, I'm going to find some other flights that you guys might like. This is an interesting one right here.
Well, then again, could you post this to your YouTube page? Could you say, go to this website to watch this flight?
I'm not really understanding what you're saying.
There we go.
Well, if you post a flight on your YouTube page and say, go to this Google Earth page and you can see my exact route that I used to fly this route.
Yeah, you could do that. You'd need some screenshot software, but you could do that. So this is downtown Olympia, where I live. No, not down. I don't live downtown, but this is the, I tell everybody I live in Tacoma or Seattle, but that's only because most people aren't familiar with Olympia. But this is a little bitty park down here.
Mhm.
I mean, it is one little, it's like 2 seats on the side of the road. And you can see my flights of where I'm hanging out down there. Oh, I went too far.
That is too cool.
Oh, nice, Arco. Welcome, Arco.
Hi, Arco.
And then one of the really cool things is this is the capital of Washington State. So Tumwater Airport is the 5-mile mark of Tumwater Airport ends right here on this little hill right here. So we're actually, you know, if anybody ever wanted to question my flight, I'm not actually
In the
scroll around.
airspace. Yeah.
I'm not in that airspace. You can see where I'm actually at. Where did it go? There it is. You can see the flight right there.
Right.
Wow.
I wish I'd worked out a better presentation. I'm kind of doing this live. If I was going to do this,
this is great. I'm amazed by this. I am really
Yeah.
amazed by this.
so I flew right up to here, and then I took a photo of the Capitol building, which is perfectly legal. And I had a few people in Olympia say, "Hey, you can't fly over the Capitol building." And I'm like, "No, I'm not actually flying over the Capitol building. I'm over the water here, you know, down at Capitol Lake, which is perfectly fine. I'm not endangering anybody. And the worst thing that could happen, and this is the Capitol building right here, by the way, the worst thing that could happen is the battery fails and it falls into the water. This is Mount Rainier, by the way, tallest mountain from the in the western states, and it is an active volcano, by the way. So yeah, this is Bud Bay, and this is the West Bay, and this is out here is Bud Bay. So there's East Bay and West Bay, and then the whole thing is Bud Bay. And there's a logging yard down here, and it's all pretty dead on the weekends, which is generally what I do. I go down here and fly on the weekends. So yeah, let me jump out of this. That's pretty much.
Thank you.
I'll save that.
Sorry, I've been avoiding the chat. I've been watching this.
I wasn't
That is
actually
really cool.
sure, so sorry, guys.
What, something happened or something?
So is this the only thing? So this is only for DJI, right?
No, they support. Let me go over here. They support other drones. I need to find out where it is. Fly like usual. Upload your flight. Analyze your flight. Analysis, maintenance, alerting. Choose the plan that's right for you. Here's the register for free one where you get 100 free flights. And again, every time you upload another flight, like the 101st flight, the first flight falls off, so you don't lose stuff. But they have some really, you know, like I said, just check out the other plans there. They're pretty cool as well. Give you a little bit more information. Where is features, overview, screenshot, supported aircraft? Here we go. So DJI, Phantom 3, Phantom 4, Inspire 1, 2, Mavic, Mavic 2, Matrice, Spark. They support the Parrot Anafi, the Parrot Bebop Disco, the Parrot Disco, the Unique H250.
But not the Breeze.
But not the Breeze.
Shut up, Robert.
I need to sell you my Phantom 4.
Yeah, Phantom 4.
So question for the folks in the chat, are we giving you guys information that you can use? Is this helpful for you guys, or?
Yeah. That is awesome.
It depends on what kind of flyer you are. If you're DJI, Parrot, Anafi, those, you know,
right.
The fancier one than the Breeze, then it's information they can absolutely use. I would think it gives you a lot of information.
Well, I want to do a full disclosure here. I got to meet the guys several years ago, and as they are growing, I'm bugging the hell out of them for a job. They need somebody that has my my social media skills, and I'm definitely the guy they want to use. They just don't need one just yet, but they're going to be needing a social media manager here pretty soon.
Oh, I would think so.
So that's kind of in the back burner. So I want to do a full disclosure so everybody understands. Yes, I'm excited about them, but you know, at some point in time, I want to actually go to work for these guys.
Right.
Okay.
So is there any advantage to paying for the site?
So yes. Go over here to my flights. I have the reports thing is something that's really good for you. This is something that the FAA and eventually it's going to have information for they may already have it, but I'm registered as a United States guy, so that's the only reason it says FAA.
Right.
If you were in Canada or someplace else, it would say stuff for them, CAA or whoever they are. So this right here, the maintenance reports, standard flight reports, and flight COA reports, this is stuff that, like I said, that NBC News would want, and, the rail yards would want, and Microsoft would want, or Google, if they're flying their stuff. This right here is really what they're looking into. The advantage for the average person would be the maintenance information.
Right.
So this is where getting into the subscription, I think, would be an advantage to you. If you're a person that hangs on to your batteries and tries to make them last, this is like all my batteries, I just came out of winter and didn't fly that much this winter. So all these battery services is due.
Okay.
And then you have completed and you have your service list of what you've done. And then you have your drones and the information on your drones.
Wow. It shows them.
That is just, I'm amazed. I just got to say, I'm amazed at the information. Yeah.
I talk about in my groups all the time. We have that thing called the welcome button. Everybody, if you're familiar, if you're an admin in a Facebook group, you're able to click on it and it automatically welcomes everybody and it tags everybody in the thing. Well, I add to mine. I say, be sure and create a free account at airdata.com. It's free. Why wouldn't you? And most everybody just does not pay attention to it. They just like, hey, thanks for, letting me in your group, blah, 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 blah. And then they go crash and they go, what happened? And I go, well, did you create a free account? Can you upload your flight logs and we can actually take a look at it and see what happened? And there are times when something went wrong and it was DJI's fault. And we were able to go to DJI and say, hey, look at this. What's going on? And DJI steps up and says, hey, yeah, it's screwed up. We're going to fix it. So it gives you peace of mind when you're talking to everybody, and most people need to take ownership. To be honest with you, it's 99% of it is pilot error or somebody's not paying attention. If you religiously upload your flight logs after your flights and you come home and take 5 minutes and look at it and you go, oh, whoa, that battery's going down, I need to not use that anymore, you're not going to crash. It's a little bit of post-maintenance, preventative maintenance. You're doing post-maintenance, but it's preventative for your next flight.
Curtis, that internal serial number, is that the black box number?
What are you talking about?
Right up above. Right. It says internal serial.
No, that's the number of the drone itself. If you look on here, it doesn't. This is the exact same drone. I don't know why it did this. So when I got my Inspire 1 was when they first started the company, and they changed some things, but they haven't changed it on mine, and I'm not sure why that is. But this is the exact same drone. So why it doesn't have? See, I'm clicking over here on default Inspire 1. And then Seahawk 1. So why this one doesn't say internal serial number right here, I don't know.
Yeah.
So I can go back to Iran and point that out. That may be a glitch in the system. But it's just the internal serial number of the drone itself.
Okay.
That's not the black box. The black box actually, so there's two of them actually. There's one on the drone, and that one's hard to get to. There's no USB connectivity to get to it. You actually have to send the drone back and they disconnect everything and pull the flight controller out and they get that information off. It's a DAT file. But the flight controller, the black box I'm talking about, it sends that information from the drone to your tablet phone. And that's where you're uploading. The flight log exists on your phone. And that's
not on the controller.
Not on the controller. It's in your phone. So you can disconnect your controller, and which is what I do. I'll go fly for an afternoon, do 10 or 15, 20 flights, whatever, run all my batteries down, and then I'll go to Denny's or something and have lunch or dinner. And while I'm there, I'll pull out my iPad and I'll sync all my flights with DJI. And at the same time, it automatically, because I have the app on my iPad, it automatically uploads all my flights to air data as well.
That
Wow.
is cool that it tells you that the last time you've flown with that battery.
Right. Oh yeah, you've got your flight history.
And that's something you could take to, like, if you're
wanting to sell
Money
your
for-
drone,
or if you're wanting to sell your drone, or if you're
want to buy somebody's drone.
yeah, you can see how much they've used that drone, how much flight time is on that battery.
Yep. Oh, here's the service
Or
information.
even if you're selling your time, you could take this to a real estate company and say, hey, this is what I did. This is where I flew. This is how much time I took up in the air. That just, wow.
And you guys thought we were just going to talk about logos all day.
Huh.
But by the way, I sell logo stings
That is cool,
$300.
And we did talk about that quite extensively.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, so we have a lot of stuff to, guys, if there's anything you forget about this that he's just shown us, remember, you can always go back and find it within this interview. So you can remember some of the stuff you talked about and some of the logos.
Yeah, here's all the current batteries where you can take a look at your batteries. You want your usage, your flight history. You can merge. So for some reason there was a glitch in the system a few years ago, and they created this merge thing. I've never had to merge anything. It's where it's the same battery, but it's registering as two separate batteries. But you have service, basic service, not due, charges 6 to 2620, airtime, perform service, service full, one-time service, trends. See, this battery's in really good condition.
Wow.
If your lines start dropping down here, you got problems. So if you come home and you went flying, you think everything's fine, and you look at this and your battery's like, registering down here, it's like, okay, that battery's dead. I gotta fix it, or I don't use it.
Right. So guys, it is, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, Curtis. We kept you for
How long have we been on? I forget.
hours. But the problem with this stuff is you could stay on talking forever. Because
Well, when you started doing this from the beginning, you acquire a lot of knowledge, and it's not something that you can convey to people in just 30 minutes.
no, you can't. You can't. I appreciate, because I asked Curtis, I said, if we got to do an hour, it's okay. But usually my show's 2 hours, and he goes, we'll do it till it's done. So, you know what, Curtis, you are a gem, and I so appreciate you for staying on until the show is done. I mean, and we could still go on for 3 more hours, but I have people finally going, I have to go to sleep now.
Yeah. all I ask is that everybody jump over next Saturday at 3 o'clock Pacific and 6 o'clock Eastern, and we're going to go into what I told you guys, but it's going to be a whole lot more detail because Iran is the CEO of the company, and he's going to talk about air data, and that's going to be this coming Saturday, and it's
going to be fun. Yes.
Yeah, and he can really answer. There's a few questions that I can't answer that he could really dive into. We'll be using my charts and my stuff. So, if you're interested in taking care of your drone, and it is an investment, no matter how you look at it, definitely go check that out. It's going to be next week. Drone Owners Network. In fact, let me put the link in there real quick before we run.
Hey, Robert, thank you so much. I appreciate you and what you did for my stream tonight, because he was finding anything. If I wasn't picking something up in the chat, he was putting it in the private chat on here. So that really helped. Paul, thank you.
Thank you, Paul.
Hang around, Paul.
Yeah, it was my pleasure. I was watching from afar. I was kind of lurking because it was so interesting, and Curtis was so explanatory on his life and what he does, and Robert was just mesmerized. I thought, well, because I did get your link, and I thought, well, they're doing such a great job, they don't need me clouding up the waters,
You never cloud the
Oh,
water.
it's just amazing interview. Amazing.
Thank you, Robert. And it's good to meet you guys. Meet you, Robert. I've met Paul before online, but I've never met you before, Robert. So it's very nice to meet you as well.
So
Oh, thank
guys,
you.
thank you so much. You know, I love all you in the chat. It's been fun. Thank you for hanging out for some of you for the whole 3 hours. Kim, thank you. Thank you, Ed and Thomas. Thank you guys so much.
Be sure and hit that like button on the way out, guys.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, it's free. It doesn't cost you anything to hit that like button.
Yeah, it is free. And maybe you get a quarter. I don't know. I love you guys.
Val is a big shooter. You know, that's what I got to say.
Okay, guys. Love y'all. Night.
Bye, everybody.
Night.